Good morning. Welcome to American Sunrise Early Edition. I am Brian Glenn. Here's what we're following for you this morning. First up, we're watching the White House. President Trump expected to continue a series of executive actions this week. The focus is energy, defense, domestic production. Official schedule and details are expected a little bit later this morning. Next up, for the first time ever, a U.S. military airlifted a nuclear microreactor by a C-17 to Hill Air Force Base in Utah. It's designed to power military bases and critical infrastructure. We'll show you the airlift. This is really cool, and what happens next. And third, a shift in Democrat messaging. Hillary Clinton warning about mass migration, Barack Obama addressing homelessness. The tone is softer. Midterms are closer. All of that as America's Sunrise Early Edition starts right now.
Welcome to American Sunrise Early Edition. The show where faith, freedom, and the values that built this nation take center stage.
You people and others like you built this country.
Join us as we break down the stories that matter.
FAFO. If you don't know, now you know.
American Sunrise Early Edition on Real America's Voice starts now.
All right, good morning. Before we go any further, let's get you ready for the day that's ahead now. Take a look at the bottom of your screen right now. There is a QR code. That is your direct line to the Weather Nation. Scan it, get connected. And during the 9 a.m. hour at America's Sunrise, we may feature your hometown forecast live. So head over to Real America's Voice chat on Getter, Rumble, or YouTube, and you could be next. All right, let's turn to our national forecast. Joining us now is Weather Nation's Tracy Anthony. Tracy, what's going on this morning? Happy Fat Tuesday to you, by the way.
Yeah, happy Fat Tuesday. We are going to have a good amount of weather actually out west. So want to start off in Donner Pass, California. You can see here they have just been socked in with an atmospheric river that's bringing in a ton of moisture. They reported up to about 9 inches of snow by about 3 p.m. yesterday. So as the snow reports come out this morning, I'm interested to see what they've picked up so far. Just incredible. You can see travel going to be extremely difficult into the higher elevations, and LA dealing with a ton of rain as well. So they are going to continue to get a good amount of moisture over the next day and a half, and it's going to cause some big concerns. Now, we're going to watch that snow and cold air really take over the entire Intermountain West here for the rest of the week. So we're talking snow levels dropping down to about 2,000 feet. So a lot of areas that haven't seen snow all season going to be picking up some snow as well. And then as you get out over the plains, we're going to have some gusty winds, but these are going to be dry downsloping winds. So the moisture kind of holds right along the Rocky Mountains there. And so fire danger going to be the big concern. But look at this. Close to over 9 inches of snow in Donner Pass. Like I said this morning, we should have the newer updates, but Bear Valley was bracing for 68 inches of snow over the next 3 days. So these totals are going to skyrocket. And one of these systems is going to trek across the northern tier of the country. So we do have blizzard warnings that are in place for areas of North Dakota, the Arrowhead of Minnesota, and some freezing rain will be possible north of Detroit, north of Milwaukee. Green Bay could be impacted by that. So warm temperatures, Omaha 75 degrees. We're trending on the warm side. New York 46. Hey, DC, they're 56. So a lot of us from coast to coast going to feel those temperatures above average for this time of year. And that's why we're bracing for the widespread fire danger out across the plains. It's warm, it's dry, it's going to be windy. So red flag warning stretching from Texas all the way up through the Dakotas. That's going to be this afternoon where we're bracing for some of the worst of it. So temperatures trending well above average. Omaha close to 40 degrees above average for this time of year. So that is why that widespread fire danger does exist. and most of the moisture is staying out west over the next 3 days, and we'll have some moisture working across the northern tier of the country. So areas like Chicago, Detroit, Boston could have a little rain and snow, but the Gulf Coast, a few showers possible, but it's the record heat that we're bracing for Tuesday through Friday. So we're going to be breaking records. I know, Brian, yesterday we were talking about the daffodil bloom across parts of Georgia, and we're really getting a jump start on spring when, you're reminded that it's really only mid-February. And like we mentioned, hey, it's Fat Tuesday. So Mardi Gras going to be a very active spot. New Orleans, this is obviously Bourbon Street. This was a look yesterday. Lots of tourists. There's a few other cities. St. Louis, Missouri, I guess they have a big Mardi Gras celebration I never knew about.
It's a big celebration. I know they have it down in Southeast Texas as well. So anything you've got that Cajun French mixture there, it's coming out. Well, Tracy, we appreciate it. I would imagine the spring break skiing there in the Rocky Mountains in the West ought to probably extend probably into May, I would imagine. Some of those totals you were talking about. Crazy.
Yeah, they've been running a huge deficit so far this year. So this is much needed. And yeah, I think it's going to kind of spring them forward and hopefully keep that ski season around a little longer.
There you go, Tracy. All right. Thank you. We'll see you back on American Sunrise. Thank you.
Yep.
All right, now to an historic moment for American energy and national security. President Trump's push for strategic energy dominance took flight literally for the first time in history. A next-generation nuclear micro-reactor was airlifted by a C-17 to Hill Air Force Base in Utah. The reactor, about the size of a minivan, can power thousands of homes or operate independently from military bases, data centers, and critical infrastructure. Real America's Voice was embedded for the airlift, and David Zier was there. David Zier, welcome to the program this morning. By the way, good morning. Good to see you, my friend. We were talking off camera. Thank you for all you do for this network. You are certainly an asset. Tell us about that trip. That had to have been a really unique experience.
A monumental moment in our history. And speaking of Mardi Gras, it's the Chinese New Year today also. And China conducted a small modular nuclear reactor test on Hainan Island, I think about a month ago or less. So there's a new atomic age, and Valor Atomics in California is leading that charge, getting these SMRs into service that can operate independently from the grid. And this goes because the electric grid is constrained, right? So we can power bases, we can do all kinds of private industry partnerships, we can power maybe ships with these things. It's really incredible. It goes in line with Trump's executive order for nuclear energy, strategic energy dominance, and national security. And we participated. We did 6,000 miles in a 15-hour period, leaving Joint Base Andrews, going to March Air Force Base, California. They loaded this thing up. It's not every day you fly in with a nuclear reactor. It was extraordinary. And we flew with Chris Wright, Secretary of Energy, and Department of War Undersecretary Mike Duffy, and delivered this thing to Hill Air Force Base in Utah, and just outside of Salt Lake City, where it's going to be tested at San Rafael Labs. Now, China is also testing these things and getting them up to pressure, which means they could be in service. This could be in service within 18 months. It's a total game changer for America. They can't really be weaponized. It's low enriched plutonium, but it goes in sync with the incredible energy going on, no pun intended, with the Pentagon, with Trump, the Department of Energy, and this movement to bring America back to the forefront. It's pretty amazing.
This is amazing. And you and I were talking before we came on. Venture partnerships like this with private industry would have never happened, or it didn't happen under Biden administration. I think you could probably go back to Obama as well. That's what makes the Trump administration so unique, that they're able to bridge both the government and the private sector together and just create these amazing assets here.
Yeah, last week in Rhode Island, where we make our submarines, a new Columbia class, Hegseth was a rock star up there. They love Trump, General Dynamics. Then we went to Bath Iron Works, where they're making our guided missile destroyers and where these new Trump battleships will be made with direct energy laser weapons, railguns, and other. But Hegseth repeated many times during that trip that Trump and Hegseth don't care whose name is on the side of these defense systems, as long as they get in the hands of the warfighters quick, so we could be prepared as new emerging threats around the world in land, space, at sea. We're not going to let the defense contractors and big lobbyists run the show, is basically what he was saying. And they were upset. These CEOs make millions, tens of millions of dollars, but where is the pressure to get the stuff to the marketplace and also into our military's hands? And they're not going to tolerate it. So that was a really interesting component of this.
And of course, some of these developments end up making it into the public sector, like consumers like you and I eventually might be able to, this might be able to work our way into something that powers up our own home. I mean, you don't really know where the cycle ends on the product development with something like this.
Well, it's a game changer in that these things are 1 to 30 megawatts, say. And the one we transported the other day was 5 megawatts. It could power 5,000 homes. You could string 4 or 5 or 6 of them together. So you could power like Fort Bragg, say, the largest base in the country with these things. If the power goes out, if there's a hurricane, if there's an EMP and other types of things, these things can survive that. It's definitely interesting for AI data centers, also for manufacturing. And we're still a ways out. These won't be implemented for 18 months, 2 years, but it's accelerated because just a year ago, SMR technology, small modular reactors conversation was, hey, these things aren't coming until 2030, 2031. And we can't. We don't have enough energy in the grid to supply, electric cars, data centers, and the scope and scale of the power we're going to need just in the next decade. So this is an answer.
Okay, we've got about a minute left. David, give us an idea what it's like to actually travel on a C-17. That had been an amazing experience just from the size of these aircraft. Just real quick, give us an idea. How did it feel?
Yeah, well, they're used to taking off on short runways and diving in from high altitudes. And if you've been on Air Force One and the C-40 jets, and you always know there's a military pilot flying, especially when you're on Delta, because they come in hot. And it's amazing. They swoop right in. It's a well-oiled machine. I feel like the military in the United States is much better off these days. That's for sure.
That's for sure. David, how can people find you on social media?
At Dave Zier on X and David Zier on everything else. I appreciate your time this morning, Brian. And it's just been a whirlwind, and Trump is on top of this.
He is. And we appreciate your time this morning. Thanks for all you do for the network, David. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Brian.
All right, we come back. Your morning market numbers as we head towards the opening bell, and the latest in the Tina Peters new developments in that case and what it could mean politically. Stay with us as we kick off this early edition of American Sunrise. We'll be right back.
At Real America's Voice, we know that you want to be a part of something bigger. That's why we've teamed up with AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens, to build a real community of folks who care about faith and our country's future.
There is no force on earth that can stop us from saving our country.
Want to be a part of this movement? It's easy. Just scan the QR code on your screen right now. That's right. Grab your phone and scan the QR code to join the AMAC and Real America's Voice family today. By scanning the QR code, you'll unlock exclusive content, connect with like-minded Americans, and be first in line for events that celebrate our shared values. So don't wait. Scan the QR code. Join us today and become part of a community that stands for faith, family, and freedom.
Real rights, they come from God.
With AMAC and Real America's Voice. Go ahead. Scan the QR code now.
Hi, my name is Tracy Ellsworth, Arizona. I build steam around in the kitchen when it comes to the news. I watch Real America's Voice, which always serves accurate and reliable updates that are on point with their amazing hosts. So don't find yourself in a pickle by tuning into the fake news. Stick with Real America's Voice.
My name is Tina, and I'm in Dallas, Texas. I'm so grateful to be able to get my news from an organization like Real America's Voice, whose conservative values align with my own.
Hello, all you Ravagers. I'm Billy Howell, your old buddy Carefree Largo from the chat, and I'm thrilled to be part of the Rav family. When I want to be heard, I use my Real America's Voice.
Welcome back, America's Sunrise. A live look at New Orleans, cleaning up there, getting everything back to normal as we go into Ash Wednesday tomorrow. Welcome back. I'm Brian Glenn. Great to have you this morning. We're tracking the White House, the markets, and the stories that are shaping your day. And as always, we invite you to join the conversation on Getter, YouTube, and Rumble. We're live and we're listening. Now, a quick check on Wall Street as we head towards today's opening bell. Let's take a look at some of those numbers. The Dow sits just under 49.5 after a modest gain. The NASDAQ closed a little lower, down about 50 points there. No major swings, but momentum remains strong after a historic month. Obviously, for the Dow, investors are watching this week's data and developments out of the Washington. So as traders get ready for the week. There you go. 3 numbers right there. All right, quick check on energy as well. Oil just under $63 a barrel. Natural gas above 3, and the 10-year hovering around 4%. That's your market ahead of the opening bell. We'll keep an eye on that as we move into this morning. All right. Moving ahead, my RAV colleague, Neil McCabe, was at the Justice Department where he spoke with conservative operative about Tina Peters and the efforts underway to bring her home. Take a listen.
This is Real America's Voice, national political reporter Neil W. McCabe, and we're talking to conservative political operative Sharona Bishop about the Tina Peters situation. Sharona, thank you very much for joining us at Real America's Voice.
Neil, thank you for having me.
Sharona, you were very close to Tina Peters before you moved from Colorado to Texas, and you're still involved in the effort to get her free. How would you characterize her situation right now?
It's pretty grave. She has spent well over 460 days in prison as of now. She's sentenced to a 9-year term, which is a life sentence when you are 70 years old.
She was the head election clerk, and Woods was the contractor she had hired to do some forensic investigations. He said that, hey, I really don't know how to do what you're asking me to do, but this other guy can, and they basically allowed him to use the swipe card. But everything, they were her machines. She had, and it was her contract. It was under her. She was conducting her own sort of investigation.
Well over 300 citizens that I know of personally came to Clerk Tina Peters from Mesa County and said, we want you to investigate what's going on with these election machines. She never acted independently, ever. She sought the support of local officials, including Congresswoman Lauren Boebert, who swore she would have her back, but we've heard nothing from her. But she didn't even investigate elections. Let's just be real. All she did was have a forensic image made of her machines.
President Donald J. Trump has pardoned Tina Peters of all possible federal charges, and he has ordered the Department of Justice to use all of its tools, pull every string, push every button to release Tina Peters. So far, those DOJ efforts have been thwarted, but you and other supporters of Tina Peters have been able to work with federal officials to pull money and exert pressure on Colorado to sort of move them to that spot. Explain that to me.
Oh, money talks. And right now, President Trump has promised that he's going to pull every dollar possible away from the state of Colorado in order until Tina Peters is released. And right now, we have several $billion worth of federal social service and child care funding that's been pulled, and another $1.5 billion right now in public health and transportation grants that are being pulled. We know that the federal government is looking at future NIH grants and is pulling those as well. Until Tina Peters is released, Colorado can expect to have every federal dollar stripped from them, as President Trump promised he would do.
Thank you for joining us at Real America's Voice.
Thank you for having me.
And joining us now is Real America's Voice national political reporter Neil McCabe. Neil, great sit down with her. So, and you and I are, I think, pretty connected to the base. We know what people are concerned about. This is up on the top of the list, Tina Peters.
Yeah, I think for 4 years, Trump supporters were watching that grandmothers were being wrapped up by SWAT teams because they were praying in front of an abortion clinic. There was a total government effort to arrest everyone who stepped foot, not just in the Capitol on January 6th, people who are outside on the grass. One piece of grass was like, okay. Another piece of grass was like, no, you have to go to jail. There were no signs. It was just crazy. Every possible effort that could have been made against Trump supporters under Biden was done. Nobody held back. And of course, the president himself, 2 assassination attempts, and the 4 or 5 cases, and then, of course, 2 impeachments while he's president. So people have seen what can be done against them, against us. And when Tina Peters is still in jail, they wonder, well, what's going on here? I don't know how more simple to put it, Brian.
Okay, is there a pathway to get her out of Colorado into a different facility? How do we free Tina Peters?
Well, there are people inside the Justice Department who had a plan. And the plan was, they reached, there's a program where state prisons exchange inmates with other states and with the federal government. Sometimes it's because of medical attention. Sometimes they need someone to testify. For whatever reason, it's a very low-level administrative thing. So, for instance, just to make it math easy, we have in the federal system roughly 15 inmates from Colorado. Colorado has roughly 15 inmates from the federal system for different reasons. And the plan was to swap that out. And people in Colorado expressed interest in making this happen. But then somebody at DOJ decided to leak it to the press. And then once it was in the press, well, then that was closed. Right now, I guess you could get a pardon, right, from the governor. They've asked the governor, Jared Polis, to sort of work with them. Let me say this, Brian. Polis has a lot of pressure in Colorado to make Tina Peters die in jail. She has become a symbol of the insurrection. She's become a symbol of the deplorables. And when the Democratic leaders and the operatives and the left-wing media inside Colorado demanded that Polis promise he would not negotiate with the feds, he said he wouldn't do it. And he's actually said Tina Peters' sentence was out of line and was excessive. And so Polis is running for president of the United States, Brian, and he must know that the American people care about this thing, presumably more than maybe other people in the Trump administration. I know the White House is adamant about getting him out. The pardon for Tina Peters was done out of the White House, because it was an effort to sort of lay a marker down. And there's an argument, Brian, that whatever she was accused of, she was doing it in an effort to determine if there was a problem with a federal election, and that maybe it wasn't even a Colorado crime, right? It's like there's no Colorado crime on the books. They kind of invented a crime for her. And so that's why the Trump pardon was so important, because people say it's absurd, or why would you do such a thing? But she was an official working on a federal election. That's why it was important to have a federal pardon.
All right, we're running up against. We got a break here, Neil. We want to have you back on. Let's flush this out a little bit more and see if that any of your work and some of this reporting can help put pressure on individuals to make this happen. We appreciate it, Neil.
Great to be with you.
Thank you. All right, we want to shift gears just for a moment and talk about something a lot of women are dealing with, but don't always talk about. That's thinning hair. If you've noticed that your hair isn't as full as it used to be, okay, you're struggling with fine, limp strands, this conversation is for you. We're joined now by Mrs. Laura Volpe, a hair loss expert who's partnered with our sponsor, Terrance. She's going to walk us through a simple, natural way to help support thicker, fuller looking hair. Laura, thank you for coming on this morning. Good morning.
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
So I understand that you've partnered with a company called Terrance that specializes in natural hair care. What can you tell us about them?
Sure. I partnered with Terrance for two very simple reasons. One is that they use natural and organic ingredients that are backed by science and proven to work. This is really important because consumers nowadays are aware of ingredients that are found in skincare and hair care products, and they're harsh chemicals. So these ingredients, such as parabens, sulfates, and silicones, we really don't want to be using those kinds of products. So I love the fact that there are no harsh chemicals like you find in most skincare and hair care products with Terrance. That's what makes it such a great alternative for women with sensitive and mature skin, or for those who just want cleaner ingredients. The second reason I partnered with Terrance is because they have a 3-phase hair growth support system.
Wonderful. Now tell us about this great product recommendation that's groundbreaking for women who struggle with thinning finer hair.
Yeah, absolutely. Terrance has an amazing shampoo called the Hydra-Lift shampoo. And what makes this so amazing and unique is that they have a 3-phase hair growth support system that I just mentioned. So women that are looking to get fuller lift in their hair, there's 3 phases to it. The first phase is the root revival system. Now this phase is going to dissolve all of that buildup in and around your follicles. This waxy buildup can suffocate your hair follicles and actually stunt growth. So the ingredient that makes this so remarkably well is something called cocoa glucoside. And this is going to remove all of that buildup and allow your follicles to breathe again. The second phase in that 3-phase hair growth support system is the hair thickening matrix. And this phase uses an ingredient called hydrolyzed wheat protein. And what this does is it attaches to those weak miniaturized hairs, and it kind of creates a molecular scaffold that will strengthen from within, giving it that lift, volume, and plump that we want over time. The third phase in this 3-phase hair growth support system is the protective shield essence. And this phase is all about protecting your hair from environmental stressors. So Terrance uses a natural ingredient that will form kind of like this invisible shield around the hair follicles that's going to keep out all of that environmental stressors, but lock in all of those nutrients.
Is this Hydra-Lift shampoo easy to use? Is this something you have to use every day? Do you use it once a week? How long do you leave it on? How long before you rinse it off?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. So you're going to use the shampoo the way that you would any other shampoo. The only difference is you're going to leave it on for about 1 to 2 minutes to allow that 3-phase hair growth support system to actually penetrate into the follicles. You're going to rinse it out like you would any other shampoo, but you only need to use it 1 to 2 times a week.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, so for any of them watching right now who's interested in trying Hydra-Lift, how can they do that?
Absolutely. You can head over to Terrance.com, shop Hydra-Lift. And if you love that Terrance cares about the ingredients that they use in their Hydra-Lift shampoo, you're also going to love that they have a skincare line as well that's going to reduce fine lines and wrinkles, plump the skin, and give you hydration. Your viewers are going to be able to save 35% today by using code EARLY at checkout. And it's an incredible product. The Hydra-Lift shampoo is absolutely amazing.
Well, we appreciate your time this morning. Thank you so much for joining us. The good information there. And ladies, you know what to do now. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes. Bye.
Thank you. Just like you said, if you're interested in trying Hydra-Lift shampoo completely risk-free for 1 year. Simply head over to Terrance.com to place your order. And don't forget to use the discount code EARLY to save 35% on your order. That's Terrance.com, discount code EARLY to save 35% on the shampoo today. All right, still ahead, lots ahead. The Munich Security Conference put foreign policy and AOC under the microscope. That moment drew attention on the world stage, and the U.S. ambassador to NATO, Matt Whitaker, is sitting up front row. He joins us next with a recap. All ahead on American Sunrise.
Welcome to Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Your quick look at the powerful stories of faith and freedom, inspiring audiences across the nation. Angel Studios presents.
I'm Bo Davidson with your Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Did you ever wonder what truly happened in the COVID-19 pandemic and whether Anthony Fauci would ever be held accountable? I think we all have. Filmmaker Jenner First has an upcoming documentary that searches for truth, transparency, and accountability called Thank You, Dr. Fauci.
Governments lie.
Anthony Fauci put everyone on the planet at risk without their consent.
It's beyond suspicious.
Research caused a pandemic, killed 20 million, and cost $25 trillion. Fauci would prefer a lie.
Public trust, national health, and global security are at stake as this documentary digs through thousands of pages of documents and interviews with former officials and whistleblowers in the most controversial narrative of our time that may also be one of the largest cover-ups in modern public health history.
There was a cover-up.
Why would he trade the Chinese the most advanced biotechnology in the world?
He's a spy.
It's insane.
I don't think this is going to be foolproof. Things are going to slip through.
Fauci knew and lied repeatedly.
Rather than being a partisan hit piece, Thank You, Dr. Fauci is an honest look at the origins of COVID-19 and a potential bioarms race with China. It streams exclusively on Angel Studios app and site starting on October 23rd. And all you need to do is go to angel.com/Rav to stream it. So be ready to watch, question, and share as the quest for truth and accountability continues.
Welcome to Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Your quick look at the powerful stories of faith and freedom, inspiring audiences.
Welcome back, American Sunrise Early Edition. I am Brian Glenn, live look once again at New Orleans. All right, good to have you with us this morning. We're tracking the White House, the markets, and the stories that are shaping your day. And as always, we invite you to join the conversation down on Getter, YouTube, and Rumble. We're live and we're listening. All right, Congresswoman AOC, Ocasio-Cortez, is in Munich this weekend, drawing criticism. At the security conference, AOC struggled when asked whether the U.S. should defend Taiwan. Take a listen.
Would and should the U.S. actually commit U.S. troops to defend Taiwan if China were to move?
I think that this is such a, I think that this is a, this is, of course, a very longstanding policy of the United States. And I think what we are hoping for is that we want to make sure that we never get to that point. And we want to make sure that we are moving in all of our economic research and our global positions to avoid any such confrontation and for that question to even arise.
And sitting across from her was the U.S. ambassador to NATO, Matthew Whitaker, and I saw some of the reaction around there with the confusion. I had some people were saying that the camera cut to the crowd to perhaps distract from the word salad that I think is probably a 9 on a 1 through 10, 10 being completely Kamala Harris word salad. She was a good 9 on this, but even that the camera was panning to the crowd, trying to distract people. President Trump did make a comment on her being a poor representation of the U.S. and why someone like that should not be any type of political position. I mean, can you imagine AOC
it's not going to say sanctuary city on the top of the paper, but these resolutions are being presented in which that federal agents won't be able to are being presented
system that forces a one-size-fit-all solutions. America's health share offers alternatives that supports faith, family, and personal freedom in healthcare. This is not insurance. This is health freedom model. America's health share is member-driven community where people share and manage their healthcare together. We believe that healthcare should be affordable, transparent, and aligned with your values. Free from surprise bills to skyrocketing premium. It focuses on prevention, personalized care, and keeping families healthy for the long term. Every American deserves health sovereignty, the freedom to lead their own healthcare journey with treatments, insights, and support they need. America's health share is built on community, patriotism, and the freedom to make healthcare decisions that reflect values and conscience. We support therapies that are ethically, effectively, and tailored to you, not a one-size-fits-all mandates. Go to AHSNow/RAV and get started today. Membership starts as low as $68 for an individual and $136 for a couple, or $276 for an entire family. Take control. Stand for freedom in healthcare. Join ahstoday.com.org/RAB. Information there is on your screen. Also, do that today. What a great sponsor for this program as well. Coming up, where Guthrie investigation stands. What's going on with this as we enter the third week? What investigators are focused on now, and still what hasn't been answered? Kevin Bosovic joins us from Tucson, Arizona, as American Sunrise continues after the break.
Welcome to Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Your quick look at the powerful stories of faith and freedom, inspiring audiences across the nation. Angel Studios presents.
I'm Bo Davidson with your Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Did you ever wonder what truly happened in the COVID-19 pandemic and whether Anthony Fauci would ever be held accountable? I think we all have. Filmmaker Jenner First has an upcoming documentary that searches for truth, transparency, and accountability called Thank You, Dr. Fauci.
Governments lie.
Anthony Fauci put everyone on the planet at risk without their consent. It's beyond suspicious.
Research caused a pandemic, killed 20 million, and cost $25 trillion. Fauci would prefer a lie.
Public trust, national health, and global security are at stake as this documentary digs through thousands of pages of documents and interviews with former officials and whistleblowers in the most controversial narrative of our time that may also be one of the largest cover-ups in modern public health history.
There was a cover-up.
Why would he trade the Chinese the most advanced biotechnology in the world?
He's a spy.
It's insane.
I don't think this is going to be foolproof. Things are going to slip through.
Fauci knew and lied repeatedly.
Rather than being a partisan hit piece, Thank You, Dr. Fauci is an honest look at the origins of COVID-19 and a potential bioarms race with China. It streams exclusively on Angel Studios app and site starting on October 23rd. And all you need to do is go to angel.com/RAV to stream it. So be ready to watch, question, and share as the quest for truth and accountability continues.
Welcome to Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Your quick look at the powerful stories of faith and freedom, inspiring audiences. Welcome to American Sunrise Early Edition. The show where faith, freedom, and the values that built this nation take center stage.
All right, welcome back, America's Sunrise. I am Brian Glenn. Thanks for joining us on this Fat Tuesday. Now, earlier in the show, we played a clip from AOC that was at this security conference in Munich. We saw the word salad. I ranked it a 9 out of 10, 10 being a Kamala Harris. Well, someone that was sitting right next to her is U.S. Ambassador to NATO, Matthew Whitaker, who joins us now on American Sunrise. To get your reaction, first of all, thanks for joining us. But as you sat there, what in the world is going through your mind?
Well, it's good to be with you this morning, Brian, joining you from Brussels today. But the first thing I was thinking is, these are serious issues. This panel was framed as to talk about kind of the broad global security issues that we face. And so I fully was expecting, Iran, Israel, Gaza, NATO and the alliance, European security, and then the Pacific. I mean, all of these issues were on the table. And as we were going into the discussion, and Governor Whitmer was also there from Michigan, I was really surprised how both of them didn't really have a different perspective. I'm used to discussing and defending what the president's doing on the world stage, his real clear-eyed vision for the position in the United States of America. And there was really no alternative offered. In fact, at least one or two times, both of them tried to defer to me for foreign policy expertise. So I was a little surprised by that. And then obviously the answer from Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez on what to do in the event of a Chinese move on Taiwan was breathtaking. And I think I was a little bit in disbelief that it was really happening in real time.
Yeah. And this visit, and we talked about Secretary of State Marco Rubio, his speech was a little different than what we heard last year. What was the overall reaction from members there on their presence here in the world? We're now kind of asking our European allies to kind of beef up their stance. Am I correct on this? To be a little bit more independent and not necessarily rely on the U.S. Do I got that correct?
Yeah, I think it is, Brian. What I've described it to some extent, at least, sort of others have described the message as it's the get a job moment where, you have dependents, children in your life, and they reach the point where, sort of mom and dad tell them that it's time to get a job. And I think that's, the analogy roughly that we've accomplished, quite frankly. I think our European allies are responding. We have countries like Poland and Germany and the Baltic nations together with the Nordic countries that are really sober and are moving out at pace to get stronger. But, let's remember what Secretary Rubio said is, I think the key line was where he talked about that the United States is not interested in being polite or orderly caretakers of the West's managed decline. We offer a vision that the West continues to dominate the world stage, that America continues to be the superpower. We're just expecting our allies, our best friends, to join us in that strength. And, for too long, the peace dividend here in Europe especially was realized and was, quite frankly, ignoring the realities and the threats that Europe and our allies were facing. But I think we're all on the same page now, and it's very encouraging, what we both heard last week at the defense ministerial meeting we had here in Brussels, and then to go to Munich over the weekend and to see, Secretary Rubio and others like myself and Undersecretary Bridge Colby deliver, a strong message, but also to say, we are linked forever. We are friends, but we just have to have a stronger alliance and stronger allies.
Ambassador Whitaker, we really appreciate your time this morning. I know that you're extremely busy over there, and thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, good to see you again, Brian. Thank you.
Good to see you too, man. Good experience there. He's a good man. I'm glad he's there representing us. All right, now let's pivot to Tucson, Arizona, the latest of Nancy Guthrie's investigation. Do we have Kevin Bosovic joining us? Okay, we do not have Kevin joining us live on that, but we will follow up on that story as it develops every day. We know that a glove was found miles away. Some DNA did not match anyone that was related in the family. So they have ruled kind of that out of it. Of course, they've investigated the Range Rover that was in there as well. So all of this continues to develop over the next couple of days. And of course, as the weeks go on, it's the likelihood something seems to maybe diminish a little bit. All right, let's get the very latest from the news headlines. Let's head over to Terrance Bates with the very latest on that. Good morning. Happy Fat Tuesday to you, Terrance.
Are you body shaming me, Brian, this morning?
Well, tomorrow's Ash Wednesday, so today's the day you get to let it loose today, and then tomorrow you get to, a different life, a new Terrance.
Every day is fat something to me. Fat Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Twice on Sunday, typically. Yeah, it's one of those days. Brian, good to see you, my brother. Always a pleasure. So look, Georgia is going to be the center of attention this week for the country as President Trump expected to be there later this week. Early voting also in Georgia's 14th congressional district. Special election continuing this morning after opening just yesterday. Nearly 20 candidates are vying to fill the seat that was vacated by Republican Marjorie Taylor Greene. President Trump is endorsing former prosecutor Clay Fuller in that race. However, with so many people in the race, it may be difficult for one candidate to earn the majority needed to win the race outright. If that does happen, then the top two vote getters, regardless of party affiliation, will advance to a runoff. Get this, folks. While the district is deep red, enough Democrats and independents are on the ballot to potentially spoil the race for Republicans. This special election has all candidates, regardless of party, on the very same ballot. The district covers some 10 counties in northwest Georgia, from the Atlanta suburbs, Brian, to Alabama, and then on up to the Tennessee state line. Of course, you know this district pretty well. Election day is March 10th. And I would imagine, Brian, that part of the reason President Trump is coming to that area this week is to kind of help in this special election, to help get Clay Fuller elected and to make sure that his presence is felt, since, as I said, he has endorsed Fuller.
Yeah, he has endorsed Fuller. There's a lot of people in this race. People that have Colton Moore, who's been a state rep here in Georgia for quite some time. A lot of people know his name. And of course, Fuller, people may know him as a prosecutor as well. It's going to be a very interesting race. But as you pointed out, there's a lot of people on there, so no one's going to get the majority. It will go to a runoff, but the Democrat on here that's running, I would imagine he's going to get a sizable amount of votes from Democrats. I think the Democrats are going to turn out, as we've seen in a lot of these elections. So it's going to be I don't think the Democrat wins at the end of the day. Don't get me wrong. I don't think that person's going to win, but it's going to be a race to see who gets that vote for the Republican, for sure.
Absolutely. And unfortunately, so many people in the race muddies the water. That's just the reality. No matter what party, the fact that you've got so many people in that race, it has muddied the waters there and making it much more difficult. Another big story we're watching this morning, Brian, civil rights icon and two-time presidential candidate Reverend Jesse Jackson has passed away. He died early this morning at 84 years old. He was surrounded by his family. In a statement about his death, Jackson's family writes, and this is a quote, "Our father was a servant leader not only to our family, but to the oppressed, the voiceless, and the overlooked around the world. His unwavering belief in justice, equality, and love uplifted millions, and we ask you to honor his memory by continuing to fight for the values he lived by." Jesse Jackson, dead at 84 years old. And again, no matter if you take issue with his politics, he was a significant figure in American politics for decades.
He was, and you know what, Terrance, I had the opportunity a couple of times to actually meet him at the Capitol, just outside the chamber. I stopped and wanted to talk to Marjorie. They actually had a great relationship. He called Marjorie often on the phone and thanked her for what she did and really loved what she stood for. And I think that says a lot about the respect this man had from everyone. Was such a, he was, look, like you said, politics aside, this man fought for civil rights. He fought for a lot of people that were not represented, and I think he was a good man. I really do, and he will be missed.
Absolutely, Brian, absolutely. I'll tell you my story privately about Jesse Jackson another time. I was in college and actually worked for him. That's how I got into television. That's a whole long story.
That's amazing. We have to talk about that. Maybe talk about that tomorrow.
Talk about it. Okay.
That's great. All right, Terrance. Appreciate it. We'll see you on the other side on American Sunrise. Thank you. All right, a quick word from one of our sponsors here, Artillery Tea Company. It's the only America First veteran-owned tea brand. Their mission is simple: maximize flavor with whole leaf tea. Blends in a chemical-free tea bag. No junk, just real tea. And here's a tactical advantage: each bag brews twice. Go to artillerytco.com and use the promo code RAV for 10% off your first order. That's artillerytco.com. Premium tea, mission-driven, brewed for the brave. When we come back, we will focus on our attention to Tucson to get the very latest on the Nancy Guthrie investigation. Keep it right here on America's Sunrise Early Edition.
Welcome to Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Your quick look at the powerful stories of faith and freedom, inspiring audiences across the nation. Angel Studios presents.
I'm Bo Davidson with your Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Did you ever wonder what truly happened in the COVID-19 pandemic and whether Anthony Fauci would ever be held accountable? I think we all have. Filmmaker Jenner First has an upcoming documentary that searches for truth, transparency, and accountability called Thank You, Dr. Fauci.
Governments lie. Anthony Fauci put everyone on the planet at risk without their consent. It's beyond suspicious.
Research caused a pandemic, killed 20 million, and cost $25 trillion. Fauci would prefer a lie.
Public trust, national health, and global security are at stake as this documentary digs through thousands of pages of documents and interviews with former officials and whistleblowers in the most controversial narrative of our time that may also be one of the largest cover-ups in modern public health history.
There was a cover-up. Why would he trade the Chinese the most advanced biotechnology in the world?
He's a spy. It's insane.
I don't think this is going to be foolproof. Things are going to slip through.
Fauci knew and lied repeatedly.
Rather than being a partisan hit piece, Thank You, Dr. Fauci is an honest look at the origins of COVID-19 and a potential bioarms race with China. It streams exclusively on Angel Studios app and site starting on October 23rd. And all you need to do is go to angel.com/RAV to stream it. So be ready to watch, question, and share as the quest for truth and accountability continues.
Welcome to Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Your quick look at the powerful stories of faith and freedom, inspiring audiences.
All right, welcome back. A live look at Times Square. Great place. Love to walk down there for just about a day. And then I want to leave New York, but nevertheless, great city. All right, welcome back, American Sunrise. I am Brian Glenn. Let's go live to Tucson, Arizona for the very latest in the Nancy Guthrie investigation. Joining us now is Kevin Posobiec, field correspondent for Real America's Voice. Kevin, good morning on this Tuesday. What's the very latest from Tucson?
Well, the very latest, Brian, I got to say, I mean, you kind of hit the nail on the head yesterday with the whole influencer versus media thing. So I got a buttoned up shirt now. I got a little shave going on. I started to look a little too much like an influencer, but I got to say, we got some guys from Phoenix going around interviewing people now. There is updates for sure, but there's also a new update from the media itself. A lot of people are getting interviewed for this phenomenon of, local news battling with live streamers and who's got the real evidence, who's got fake evidence. But other than that, I mean, we have some updates. There are 40 people now from the FBI that are being investigated for gun purchases. And that just broke early last night when we really didn't have any news of any kind of firearms being found or anything before. But now all of a sudden the FBI has a list to follow for there. And also,
I was going to say, I know that they're looking into 17 Walmarts that surround the Tucson area and going into the Phoenix area to look for people who purchased that backpack. And it looks like they can run a scan on every backpack that was purchased potentially from those Walmarts.
Yeah, so it could be the whole outfit actually from Walmart. We're talking, the hat, the gloves. So, and that's the Ozark brand, I believe. So we're trying to figure out if this was bought in person or online. Was it credit? Was it cash? So these transactions should be easily tracked, especially if it's a large company like Walmart. They should be able to figure that out. So the unique reflectors on the straps of the backpack confirm that it's Walmart, and the gloves, and the gloves themselves have come back kind of delayed from Florida as well. So they originally sent out 1 or 2. They bypassed Quantico, went down to the private lab in Florida, and then they're saying, oh, we actually got 16 pairs of gloves. So that's new as well. Yeah. But so the key here is the DNA, the evidence received from Florida does confirm that it's a male. So they might have potentially gotten blood from that and ran it through a system similar to the genetic genealogy tracing that we see on Ancestry.com to see if it was this male or a relative of his family.
Well, Kevin, listen real quick. We're up against a hard break here in the end of the show. We'll get back with you on this. Thank you for all your coverage there on the ground in Tucson. Thank you, Kevin.
Absolutely.
All right, as always, thank you. Thank you. And as always, thank you for tuning in. You can join us back here tomorrow at 7 a.m. right here on Real America's Voice. Until next time, goodbye and God bless. We'll see you.
American Sunrise is a great way to start your morning. Join us Monday through Friday from 8 to 10 a.m. Eastern Time. We've got the news of the day and some compelling interviews that you don't want to miss. Here's what you missed from yesterday.
There's some really important news on the vaccine front. Senator Rand Paul has introduced this legislation. It actually came out this week that would eliminate federal liability protections for vaccine manufacturers. So basically, those protections have been in place for 4 decades, and they've been used to protect vaccine manufacturers from product liability lawsuits. Dr. G, big deal here.
For the longest time, vaccine companies have been held harmless, which means, you can have a vaccine-injured child like millions of people do, and there was literally nothing you could do about it in the United States. So this could change given this. So this is very exciting.
Absolutely, Gina. And I think that it was during the COVID-19 pandemic that this topic about vaccines became a bit more mainstream, a bit more acceptable to even talk about. You said this was years ago, talking to Senator Paul about all of this. But now look at what is happening now. This is definitely coming to the forefront. And hopefully we are going to see some accountability because, like I said, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic, this is something that, vaccines, like you said, for babies and for young children as well, something that we should be addressing and should be talking about.
The Justice Department now says they have released every required document from the Epstein files. The department also says it has sent Congress a 6-page letter listing hundreds of prominent people named in the files, but it makes no distinction between those who just had some sort of contact with Epstein and those who maybe bore some relationship responsibility in some of the wrongdoing.
I think we also have to keep in mind that in many cases, the crimes happened a long time ago, and so it's going to be difficult to get justice at this point. So I think a lot of what we can hope for here is to just call people to account.
Congressman, how long could this go on with no funding for DHS? And I understand that ICE is funded, but TSA, FEMA, we got some problems down the road here.
We're now in day 3 of the 3rd Schumer shutdown. I think it could go on for a while because I think what they want, Republicans are unwilling to let them have. We are not going to back off the commitment that President Trump made as a candidate and has fulfilled as president to get our border under control and to get these terrible law-breaking, criminal, illegal aliens out of the country.
President Trump says that he will require voter ID for the November midterms, with or without Congress approval.
At the end of the day, what every American and what the citizens of Tennessee that I talk to want is they want the elections secured. We want to know that the people who are voting are citizens of this country, have a right to vote, properly identify themselves, and we've seen that degraded in recent years.
Welcome to Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Your quick look at the powerful stories of faith and freedom, inspiring audiences across the nation. Angel Studios presents.
I'm Bo Davidson with your Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Did you ever wonder what truly happened in the COVID-19 pandemic and whether Anthony Fauci would ever be held accountable? I think we all have. Filmmaker Jenner First has an upcoming documentary that searches for truth, transparency, and accountability called Thank You, Dr. Fauci.
Governments lie.
Anthony Fauci put everyone on the planet at risk without their consent.
It's beyond suspicious.
Research caused a pandemic, killed 20 million, and cost $25 trillion. Fauci would prefer a lie.
Public trust, national health, and global security are at stake as this documentary digs through thousands of pages of documents and interviews with former officials and whistleblowers in the most controversial narrative of our time that may also be one of the largest cover-ups in modern public health history.
It was the cover-up. Why would he trade the Chinese the most advanced biotechnology in the world?
He's a spy.
It's insane.
I don't think this is going to be foolproof. Things are going to slip through.
Fauci knew and lied repeatedly.
Rather than being a partisan hit piece, Thank You, Dr. Fauci is an honest look at the origins of COVID-19 and a potential bioarms race with China. It streams exclusively on Angel Studios app and site starting on October 23rd. And all you need to do is go to angel.com/Rav to stream it. So be ready to watch, question, and share as the quest for truth and accountability continues.
Welcome to Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Your quick look at the powerful stories of faith and freedom, inspiring audiences.
Ahead on American Sunrise, the DHS funding battle continues as Congress is on recess this week. Meantime, tens of thousands of federal workers are on the job, but not getting paid. So when will this standoff end? We'll break it all down for you. Plus, the search for Nancy Guthrie is now in its third week. The family has been ruled out as suspects, but President Trump calling for harsh consequences for the perpetrators. And then later, Republicans are focusing on affordability, all of this ahead of the midterm, saying that high prices and the cost of living concerns are top issues for voters. So what more will be done? Missouri Congressman Mark Alford standing by, and he'll weigh in with his insider view from Capitol Hill. Those stories and so much more right now on American Sunrise.
Good morning, America.
Welcome to American Sunrise.
Whether it's culture,
We have breaking news to share with you.
politics,
President Trump is joining us live now from Florida.
we've got you covered.
This is what it looks like to be a patriot.
We have to protect the American family.
The American dream is still alive.
I'm David Brody.
I'm Terrance.
And I'm Dr. Gina. Good morning, Patriot Warriors. I'm Dr. Gina. We are live with you from the Palm Beaches. Let's bring in David Brody. He's in Washington, D.C. Terrance Bates is in our Denver newsroom. Good morning, guys.
Good morning, Dr. G.
Dr. Gina and David. Hey guys, so look, the day starting on a bit of a sad note as Reverend Jesse Jackson has passed away. Here's a CBS News headline, which reads, Jesse Jackson, civil rights leader who ran for president, dies at 84 years old. His family says that he died peacefully in his sleep. He, of course, marched with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., but most recently making headlines and known for his run for president back in 1984, I believe it was. And guys, if you'll just allow me a quick point of personal privilege, part of the reason I'm in television right now is because of Jesse Jackson. While I was in college at the University of Maryland, I interned for a show that he had on CNN. It was called Both Sides with Jesse Jackson. I interned on that show, and at that point I realized that I wanted to go into television news specifically and to be a broadcaster. And so I owe some of that to my experience interning for Reverend Jesse Jackson, guys.
Wow, what a neat story. Look, we know all about Jesse Jackson, right, from a very liberal perspective, but either way, he's a historic figure. There's no doubt about it. there's a couple of things to point out. Politically, let's remember, when he ran in 1984, he went to the convention with over 300 delegates. He won 3 million votes. First, I don't want to say the first black person to run for president, because there was a black man who ran in 1904, excuse me. But the point is, this was the first significant, entree, if you will, where he really did some major work there and had a pretty successful result. And that was in 84, but then in 87, it was even better. 7 million votes and over 1,200 delegates that he took to the convention. So, I mean, you can easily make the case there's no Barack Obama today without Jesse Jackson, what he did politically. And let's also remember, Dr. G, he was there the day that Martin Luther King died in 1968 at the Lorraine Hotel. He was in the courtyard, one of the first people at Martin Luther King's side. There's some controversy as to whether or not he actually died. Martin Luther King died in Jesse Jackson's arms. That's what Jesse Jackson had said at the time. He continued to say that throughout the rest of his career. But there's some controversy as to whether or not that happened. We do know he was one of the first people there at his side, for sure, Dr. G.
Well, I'll tell you, one of my college trips in my undergrad was to go live in the city of Chicago. It was sort of an internship kind of thing, and to live where people in the inner city lived and do what they did. And one of the things we did, my husband actually went with me on this trip, but we weren't married at the time. We were in the class together. It was a sociology class, and was to live and do Operation Push, which was his church. And so Jesse Jackson was also very inspirational to me in a way that he probably didn't mean to be, because he actually at that church preached politics. It was pure politics. And this was at a time where it was very accepted among Christendom in Protestant churches around the country that you don't speak politics from the pulpit. But I learned that Jesse Jackson absolutely spoke almost exclusively politics from the pulpit. That's right. And I went back, and that became my crusade, and that was very inspiring to me. I will also say I did a lot of television with Jesse Jackson back when I did Fox, and he was always very congenial and very nice, and I always told him my Operation Push story and how much that college moment inspired me. So, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
There you go.
So, interesting. He's a historic figure. You can't get around that.
No doubt. Whether you like his politics or not, that's fair. But I think he absolutely has an indelible mark, or made an indelible mark, on U.S. politics and U.S. history, for sure. All right, we'll be talking more about that throughout the day, guys. But first, let's get to our Bible verse, if you don't mind, Dr. G.
2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 17. Therefore, if anyone is new in Christ, he is a new creation. Old things have passed away. Behold, all things have become new. All right, the funding standoff for the Department of Homeland Security continues. Congress on recess as lawmakers fail to reach agreement on funding for the department, leaving the TSA, FEMA, and the Coast Guard affected. Senate Democrats demanding more oversight of ICE while Republicans push back on those demands. Key agencies continue to operate without new appropriation. Lawmakers are expected to return next week to try and break the impasse. I'm going to bring in Missouri Congressman Mark Alford. Congressman, I'll tell you what, I read news today and I just hear blah, 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 because all I can do when I am home is look at those. I didn't want to say the name. I don't even want to call them Epstein files anymore, because it's not about Epstein. He's dead, or maybe he's not dead. I guess there's debate on that as well. He's not what I want to discuss. I want to discuss these victims, these child victims. I cannot get beyond this. Every moment I spend studying it, the more profound it becomes, the more I realize this isn't something that happened. This isn't even something that is happening. This is something that will continue to happen if we don't scream it from the rafters. And here's what I learned, Congressman. I looked through these files by myself for hours on end, every single day. Hours I've been spending on this. And here's what I realized. They didn't just redact the victims. The redactions are a lot of the perpetrators in these emails. What's up with that? And will we ever see investigations or justice on this?
Well, look, I applaud your effort of going through these files. I have not done that. There's some over 3 million pages that Pam Bondi and the DOJ say now they've released everything they're going to release. There's some question as if there are more files that need to be released. Look, we passed a bill that said release the files. I have been in favor of transparency from the very beginning. We've got to get to the bottom of this and get the truth out there. The Justice Department did on Saturday release about 300 names of prominent people, mostly in the political world, whose names were contained in those files, but not necessarily did anything wrong. There were a lot of names just attached to emails that had nothing to do with sexual crimes on the island or here in America. Nevertheless, Gina, you're absolutely right. And I've been talking to some Republicans here in Missouri and Kansas who are very concerned that if we don't see some perp walks pretty soon, then we're going to lose the midterms. America is honed in on what is going on still with the Epstein files. And the president, he called it a hoax early on. What he was talking about, it is a big distraction. He is not complicit in this, as far as we know, from the files. But it has been a huge distraction for what we need to be talking about, the economy improving under President Trump, the deportation of several million illegal aliens now, which is making our economy better. Apartment rents are down. Some food prices are going down, not all. Fuel is certainly down in America. Things are starting to turn around. And with the One Big Beautiful Bill that we're going to see the true benefits of this quarter and next, this economy, I still think, is going to take off like a rocket ship. Americans spent yesterday on President's Day filling out their tax returns, and they're going to get one of the biggest tax refunds that they have seen in a long time. My point is that Epstein files continue to haunt this administration, even though President Trump is not complicit in this, other than being in the files, his name being in the files. And we've got to figure out a way to get the truth out there and tell our story of really what's going on in the economy.
Yeah, if there are not arrests, then this is not going to go away, and nor should it go away, by the way. And I've been going through those files now. Thank you, Gina, for leading the charge on that. It is seedy is not even the word.
No, it's
I mean, you take a shower afterwards, and you need a shower. It's torture. Just go through all of the guys. DOJ, right? I'm talking to our audience, and you guys know DOJ. You just go to the Epstein. They literally says Epstein Library. And you go to it, it's bad. It's really bad. We're not going to give up the fight on that, and we're going to bring it to you every single day, every time. Hey, let me ask you real quick about the DHS funding. That was, I guess, the original question before we went on Epstein. Where are we on that? Is the answer crickets at this point? What's going on?
Well, look, I'm back in Kansas City. Most of our Republicans are back in their districts working. I'm going to be going over to St. Louis today, meeting the Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, at some facilities over there. The Democrats, they're over in Munich, Germany, running down America at the Munich conference over there. The DHS funding, let me put it simply, this is the stupidest shutdown in U.S. history. Why? Because we funded ICE for 4 years through the One Big Beautiful Bill. The Democrats needed something to hang their hat on, needed to be relevant again. Again, they have no message, no vision, no hope. And so they've got to have this subject matter to hold FEMA hostage, to hold TSA hostage, to hold the Coast Guard, Secret Service, our cybersecurity hostage in America. These people are going to go without pay the next pay cycle. And until pressure is put upon the Democrats to come off of this shutdown, I don't think anything's going to happen. And that's the sad part about it, that once again, the Democrats are making the American people suffer and putting our security at risk.
So
and
you say you don't
guys,
think
one other thing, we funded body cameras. The Democrats wanted body cameras. We have $20 million for body cameras in the bill that we sent them.
Which is
They wanted
great.
more training for ICE officers. We've got money for that.
Common sense solutions.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just really quickly, Congressman, how long are you expecting? You say you don't see really any movement on the horizon. How long is this going to last then? The reality is, as you said, FEMA's not getting paid. TSA agents are showing up to work, not getting paid. These are real life issues for people, for Americans.
Well, they just had a pay cycle, so the next pay cycle is in 2 weeks. If you remember back in November, the pressure didn't start mounting on the Democrats until TSA and the flight controllers did not get paid. And the airlines came out and said, hey, stop this madness, guys. You need to end the shutdown. And there's enough public pressure to make that happen. It would take a while to see those ramifications again. We got spring break coming up. And if the lines are backed up at the airports and young people in particular are not able to get to their spring break destinations, there's going to be some action, I think. President Trump is very much involved in this negotiation with the Democrats, and he wanted to be involved. He should be involved. And so we'll see what happens. It's a lot different than the November shutdown that we had. And again, it's the stupidest shutdown ever because we have already given them 3 points that they demanded on their 10 demands, and we fully funded ICE. So they really have no leg to stand on.
Good point.
Congressman Alford, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
Thanks, Congressman.
All right, coming up, we're going to check out the hottest headlines from the RAV newsroom with T. Bates. Also later, Iran says it's ready to talk about a nuclear deal, but only if the U.S. eases sanctions against them. New round, indirect talks set for Geneva as Tehran claims the ball is now in Washington's court. Will this unlock a breakthrough or deepen the standoff? We'll have analysis ahead as American Sunrise continues.
Welcome to Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Your quick look at the powerful stories of faith and freedom, inspiring audiences across the nation. Angel Studios presents.
I'm Bo Davidson with your Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Did you ever wonder what truly happened in the COVID-19 pandemic and whether Anthony Fauci would ever be held accountable? I think we all have. Filmmaker Jenner First has an upcoming documentary that searches for truth, transparency, and accountability called Thank You, Dr. Fauci.
Governments lie.
Anthony Fauci put everyone on the planet at risk without their consent.
It's beyond suspicious.
Research caused a pandemic, killed 20 million, and cost $25 trillion. Fauci would prefer a lie.
Public trust, national health, and global security are at stake as this documentary digs through thousands of pages of documents and interviews with former officials and whistleblowers in the most controversial narrative of our time that may also be one of the largest cover-ups in modern public health history.
It was the cover-up. Why would he trade the Chinese the most advanced biotechnology in the world?
He's a spy.
It's insane.
I don't think this is going to be foolproof. Things are going to slip through.
Fauci knew and lied repeatedly.
Rather than being a partisan hit piece, Thank You, Dr. Fauci is an honest look at the origins of COVID-19 and a potential bioarms race with China. It streams exclusively on Angel Studios app and site starting on October 23rd. And all you need to do is go to angel.com/RAV to stream it. So be ready to watch, question, and share as the quest for truth and accountability continues.
Welcome to Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Your quick look at the powerful stories of faith and freedom, inspiring audience. Is brought to you by AMAC, Association of Mature American Citizens.
That's New Orleans, or as Colin would say, Nolans. Our director, who just got in my ear and said Nolans. By the way, that's Bourbon Street, obviously. Here's a suggestion. If you go to Bourbon Street and you'd like to stay morally pure, don't look up on the balcony. Welcome back, everybody, to American Sunrise. I'm David Brody. A lot of news ahead, so let's get straight to it. T. Bates in the Real America's Voice newsroom in Denver, sponsored by AMAC.
The The Association of Mature American Citizens is the conservative voice for Americans 50 and older. AMAC is fighting for the values that you hold dear. Join today. Together, we can write the course of America.
Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. continuing to try and make America healthy again by starting to look into the safety of ultra-processed foods. The secretary claims the current industry standards just aren't enough because food companies are allowed to independently verify the safety of their ingredients without government oversight if they are recognized by experts as safe. Kennedy plans to challenge this standard, though.
In Europe, there's only 400 legal ingredients. This agency does not know how many ingredients there are in American food.
We do not know.
They do not know. The estimates are between 4,000 and 10,000. We have no idea what they are.
How do we know what is safe to eat?
There is no way for any American to know if a product is safe if it is ultra-processed.
Kennedy says there's currently no single definition of ultra-processed foods used by the federal regulators. As a result, the FDA and the Department of Agriculture are now working to establish a uniform definition. Lawmakers in New Mexico are set to start work today on an investigation into Jeffrey Epstein's Zorro Ranch. Epstein is accused of trafficking and sexually assaulting girls and even women there. A bipartisan committee wants to hear testimony from survivors of alleged sexual abuse at that ranch, which, by the way, is located about 30 miles outside the state capital of Santa Fe there in New Mexico. New Mexico's so-called Truth Commission will be comprised of 4 lawmakers who are tasked with identifying ranch guests and state officials who may have known what was going on there or even taken part in sexual abuse at that mansion. The $2.5 million investigation led by Democratic lawmakers comes after the Justice Department's latest document dump revealed ties between Epstein and 2 former Democratic governors of that state, along with an attorney general. The committee will deliver interim findings in July and a final report by the end of the year. Civil rights icon and 2-time presidential candidate Reverend Jesse Jackson is dead. He passed away early this morning at 84 years old, surrounded by family. In a statement about his death, Jackson's family members write, quote, "Our father was a servant leader not only to our family, but to the oppressed, the voiceless, and the overlooked around the world. His unwavering belief in justice, equality, and love uplifted millions, and we ask you to honor his memory by continuing the fight for the values he lived by." Jesse Jackson, dead at 84 years old. That's a quick check of your headlines. Now, let's get a quick check of your forecast. Weather Nation meteorologist Tracy Anthony standing by with more on what you can expect today throughout the day. Also, just a quick reminder, go to our various social media sites, Getter, Rumble, YouTube. Let us know where you're hanging out. And who knows, Tracy might hook you up with a hometown forecast. Okay, Tracy, I ain't too bright, but wherever that is, I know I don't want to be there.
I know you've got the trash can, you're losing it down the street. This is LA yesterday. They are still going to be bracing for more rain. Just incredible videos. And it's not just the rain. We're also talking about a good amount of snow and snow in the high passes. So, Terrance, they're talking about 4 to 8 feet of snow. This was a look at Donner Pass. Yeah, Donner Pass yesterday. Travel going to be nearly impossible. So the snowfall totals by about 3 o'clock yesterday in Donner Pass were about 9 inches. And still waiting for that morning update, but it's going to be significant when you have snowfall rates that were expected, 2 to 3 inches per hour in some locations. So still going to be a big concern here. And that's one of our top, weather headlines. Is California going to continue to get socked by this atmospheric river and widespread snow and also cold air? We're talking about the snow levels dropping to about 2,000 feet and accumulating snow there. But we also have a good amount of fire danger. So we've got some heat out across the Central Plains under a particularly dangerous situational red flag warning. Those are only issued with historic and life-threatening fire conditions. That's what we're going to be dealing with across the plains. So all the active weather out west today. And Terrance, these stories are really going to continue into midweek.
Wow. Okay. Well, we'll be checking with you then every day. And of course, next hour, we'll get our hometown forecast from you, Tracy. Thanks so much.
Yep.
Okay. All right, folks, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, Russia says the main issues in Ukraine, including territorial questions, are going to be discussed at upcoming peace talks in Geneva. The Kremlin is signaling that it wants to address these sensitive points as diplomacy moves forward. So, could there actually be progress? That is the critical question. We'll break it all down for you.
Welcome to Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Your quick look at the powerful stories of faith and freedom, inspiring audiences across the nation. Angel Studios presents.
I'm Bo Davidson with your Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Did you ever wonder what truly happened in the COVID-19 pandemic and whether Anthony Fauci would ever be held accountable? I think we all have. Filmmaker Jenner First has an upcoming documentary that searches for truth, transparency, and accountability called Thank You, Dr. Fauci.
Governments lie.
Anthony Fauci put everyone on the planet at risk without their consent.
It's beyond suspicious.
Research caused a pandemic, killed 20 million, and cost $25 trillion. Fauci would prefer a lie.
Public trust, national health, and global security are at stake as this documentary digs through thousands of pages of documents and interviews with former officials and whistleblowers in the most controversial narrative of our time that may also be one of the largest cover-ups in modern public health history.
It was the cover-up. Why would he trade the Chinese the most advanced biotechnology in the world?
He's a spy.
It's insane.
I don't think this is going to be foolproof. Things are going to slip through.
Fauci knew and lied repeatedly.
Rather than being a partisan hit piece, Thank You, Dr. Fauci is an honest look at the origins of COVID-19 and a potential bioarms race with China. It streams exclusively on Angel Studios app and site starting on October 23rd. And all you need to do is go to angel.com/Rav to stream it. So be ready to watch, question, and share as the quest for truth and accountability continues.
Welcome to Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Your quick look at the powerful stories of faith and freedom, inspiring audiences.
Kansas City, Missouri on a Tuesday. Just double checking it's Tuesday. It is February 17, 2026. Welcome back, everybody, to American Sunrise. I'm David Brody. All right, Iran says it's ready to discuss its nuclear program with the U.S., but, of course, they have a caveat. Only if Washington is prepared to ease sanctions. These clerics are a piece of work. This comes as indirect nuclear negotiations between Tehran and Washington continue. With a new round of talks in Geneva, Switzerland today, Iran insists it seeks a fair deal. I'm sorry, I laughed. That wasn't on prompter. And says the ball is in America's court to show sincerity on sanctions relief. All right, let's bring in former Pentagon spokesperson and Alabama Senate candidate Morgan Murphy to the show. Morgan, really, Rubio said the quiet part out loud yesterday or a couple days ago where he said, going to be tough to negotiate with folks that want to, in essence, kill you, and the theology is going to get in the way. I mean, Iran is just, this is part and parcel of what they do from a theological standpoint, is that they talk a good game, but they don't really want any sort of negotiation. Oh, by the way, that didn't sound like a question. That was more like a soapbox statement. I'm sorry. But please tell me what you think.
It's all right, David. You're absolutely right. You know, Iran has been at odds with our country for the better part
Morgan, are you there?
Of 45 years. They hate America. They chant death to America in the streets. They believe we are the great Satan. They have bombed us. They have used their proxies to attack our soldiers across the region. When I was in Afghanistan on active duty there in 2010 and 2011, a lot of the deaths that occurred while I was in country and while most of us were fighting in Afghanistan throughout that 20-year war were due to funding by Iran. Iran has been building nuclear weapons that is indisputable, and they have built ballistic missiles that can target not just its neighbors in the Middle East, but us. So they've been trying to kill us, as the Secretary of State said, for a very long time, and they just don't seem reasonable, and they don't think that President Trump means it. And what a mistake that is! I mean, they found out. They fooled around, and they found out over their nuclear program. And with 2 carrier strike groups in the region right now, they're about to find out again.
The Kremlin says that the main Ukraine issues will be discussed in Geneva talks, including territory. The next round of talks in Geneva is tomorrow and also on Wednesday. Wait, I think tomorrow is Wednesday.
Today and tomorrow.
Today and tomorrow. There we go. Trump wants a deal to end that senseless bloodbath, he says. What are your thoughts?
Well, it is a senseless bloodbath, but it is probably the hardest Rubik's Cube any president has had to solve since the Cuban Missile Crisis. And if you think back to, in fact, that crisis, the Cuban Missile Crisis, when a small southern neighbor of the U.S. tried to align itself with our major geopolitical rival at the time, the Soviet Union, we lost our minds. We invaded. We tried to kill Fidel Castro. We went to DEFCON 1. We brought the world to the brink of nuclear Armageddon over Cuba. And Putin has said to NATO very clearly, he's been saying it for 15 years, stop encroaching on Russia. He said that, Ukraine in Slavic literally means border country. And so the Russians see the territory there, the territory they've seized, as a vital buffer zone. Now, whether or not you disagree with that, that's the Russian point of view. And I think it's important to realize where they're coming from at the negotiation table. And Trump seems to take that very seriously. Biden didn't listen to him at all, didn't even speak to Putin for 3 years. So we're closer now to peace than we have been since this war broke out. I'm encouraged that they're getting together in Geneva and having serious discussions about territory. That's what needs to happen to bring this war to an end. It's not a war that Ukraine can kill its way out of, meaning they're just not enough. They don't have the manpower, the combat power to seize the territory back that Russia has taken.
Morgan, I want to switch gears and talk about Taiwan a little bit. I'm sure you've heard Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's bumbling response to a question about how she would intervene if, in fact, China were to attack Taiwan. In the meantime, Taiwan's foreign minister is saying that his country will not back down from China's intimidation, also will not escalate tensions. He says that Taiwan is basically committed to defending its democracy and keeping peace in the region. This warning comes as China continues military pressure and drills near the island. Taiwan says that it's just going to stand firm against threats from Beijing. Do you see the United States needing to increase its posture in that region? How does the United States need to respond? I guess I'm similarly asking you the question that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez bumbled, but how do you think the United States is going to ultimately respond to all of this?
Well, I'm praying that my response makes more sense than that. That was like watching a squirrel try to do mathematics.
It will. As I started asking the question, I was thinking to myself, oh, I'm kind of asking this. I hope he does better. Please let him do better.
Well, I mean, if you just look at the metrics of it, it's really tough. Basically, this is the end of a civil war, right? Taiwan was a part of China up until the Red Communists took over that nation. And it has been protected by the strong arm of the United States and our allies there in the Pacific, for the better part of 70 some odd years. And so, when China saber rattled in the Clinton administration, he sent 2 carrier strike groups, much like Trump has done to Iran in the past week. And China backed down, but they never forgot that. And so China has built up their Navy. Today, their Navy is bigger than ours. They've got 3 carriers there in the region. They pose a very significant military threat. And after all, China's got 2 billion people. Taiwan is just several tens of millions. So it's an unfair match militarily. But what our president has done, which I think is so smart, is taking Venezuela off the table, right? Taking Iran off the table. What is that doing to China? Well, China gets all of its oil basically from those 2 nations. So the president is making economic moves and using the rest of our military power to dissuade China from seizing Taiwan. And that's our best shot at preserving the independence for the people of Taiwan.
Morgan Murphy, great to have you. We got to run. You are a Senate candidate from Alabama. We'll have you on next time, talk more about that. But where can people go and get more information about your campaign? Real quick.
Come to murphyforsenate.com. Hey, guys, thank you for having me on. Really appreciate being with you today.
All right. Take a look at the website.
Morgan.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thank you, Morgan. Coming up, February marks Cancer Prevention Awareness Month, a time to focus on early detection and healthy living. Experts say simple steps like routine screenings, exercise, balanced diet can all lower your risk. But what more can you do now to protect your health? Answers when we come back.
Hey folks, it's your friend John Rich. I co-founded Old Glory Bank because we heard too many stories about people getting canceled by their bank because they didn't agree with their politics. The government wanted to know where you shop. If you bought a Bible or you shopped at a sporting goods store, you're probably on a list. We created Old Glory Bank because America needed a bank that would protect their privacy and security. Exercising your constitutional rights is not a criminal activity, and neither is loving your country. At Old Glory Bank, we stand with you.
I'm a J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
About a year in prison.
We were prosecuted, persecuted.
J6ers have been treated like terrorists.
And we need your help.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
For just $10 or more, you can help these patriots get back on their feet again. Every dollar you give is being matched up to $50,000. Go now to j6support.com and donate today. From powerhouse vocalist Natasha Owens, known for standout singles like Trump One and Somali Waltz, comes her brand new release, The Boss, released on Real America's Music. This is the direct response to Bruce Springsteen's recent release, The Streets of Minneapolis. While Springsteen once branded himself as a voice of the working class, The Boss gives a voice to everyday Americans and reminds listeners who truly shapes the future. The Real America's Voice audience has the power to move charts and shake the industry. Download it right now. Scan the QR code or search The Boss on iTunes. Push it up the charts. Make them notice.
That's the Kansas City Plaza right there. I recognize that. I have shopped that. I have shopped that like a champion, you guys. I'm not going to lie. Welcome back to, I could be an Olympic Kansas City Plaza shopper. All right, welcome back to American Sunrise. I'm Dr. G. Thank you for joining us. It is time now for today's health news, sponsored by the Wellness Company. And under the microscope today, the warning signs of colorectal cancer. The disease just took the life of Dawson's Creek actor James Van Der Beek, who was just 48 years old. I'm sure you saw his beautiful testimony of faith in his last days. But health experts warn that colorectal cancer is now killing younger people as cases rise in adults in their 20s, 30s, and 40s. Medical professionals say symptoms like blood in the stool, abdominal pain, changes in bowel habits should never be ignored, even in younger adults. Screening guidelines recommend starting tests at age 45, but doctors urge people with the risk factor or warning signs to talk to their doctor earlier. I would say this has to do with glyphosate. This is just going to be my pitch out there into the ether that I think that we will ultimately figure out that is what is causing it. I think if we get rid of the glyphosates in our food and the dyes and all the other things we're working on right now, the horrible eating habits, I think it will change all of that because it didn't used to be this way. Early detection greatly improves survival, and health officials say if you notice persistent symptoms, do get checked. I don't know. I have all my questions about all of this. For more, let's bring in the CEO of the wellness company, Peter Gillooly. Peter, I'm not going to leave that on the table without letting you comment, because you are at the tip of the spear on all of this at the wellness company. Talk to us about why are so many younger people getting this? Does it have to do with vaccines? Does it have to do with glyphosates? What is it?
It's a combination of both of those things, Gina, and we've seen an explosion in cancer rates in young people, not only in the 40s like poor James Vanderbeek, but in the 30s and 20s now, which was unheard of even 5 years ago before the pandemic. But you're absolutely right. We live in an environment that is has a lot of cancer-promoting chemicals like glyphosates and a number of other things in ultra-processed food that contribute. And additionally, the COVID-19 vaccine, as well as other vaccines, seem to have a strong correlation with the increased rise in cancer. And we can't rule that out.
Yeah, they certainly seem to have exacerbated it, because why all of these turbo cancers now? That's the question that all the doctors at the wellness company have been asking. As we mentioned last week, February is the National Cancer Prevention Awareness Month. I saw a recent number that said the vast majority of cancers are not genetic, but are instead linked to lifestyle or environmental factors. I also saw a study, a statistic that said that 1 in 3 people are now predicted to get cancer. First of all, I wonder how they know that. But secondly, we talk a lot about prevention, and we're going to get to what the wellness company is doing about prevention, because that is actually really exciting. But we hear a lot about these tests. We hear a lot about mammograms. I'm seeing now even some of the wellness company doctors coming on and questioning all the radiation in these tests and whether that might actually be causing some of this cancer. Peter, talk to us.
You're absolutely right, Gina, when the statistics now show that 1 in 3 Americans will contract cancer in their lifetime. And for way too many people, Gina, it's a kind of wait until the scare until you start to care type scenario, which is really a terrible way to approach your health. But you're absolutely right. There's also a increasing amount of evidence that shows the correlation between radiation, things like X-rays, MRIs, even mammograms, and a rise in cancer. And it has a lot of people actually questioning, hey, do I really need to get scanned so often? And even with things like mammograms, right? I mean, I think there is incredible utility in women getting checked for cancer, something everyone should do. But there's ultrasound. There's other ways you can go about doing it that offer safer and very effective ways of identifying whether or not you have a precancerous mass in yourself.
Yeah, really, really smart to look into ultrasound and some other things that don't involve radiation. So that's something to ask your doctor about when it comes time for those checks. What are the lifestyle choices that can be made to help prevent cancer?
Diet, sleep, exercise, those are the big ones. Anything that increases the level of inflammation in your system, whether it's ultra-processed foods, low amount of sleep, high amounts of alcohol or tobacco use, those all increase links to cancer. And these are things that I think everybody knows. I mean, they've been drilled into our heads since we were children, but they do make a big difference and they compound over time. And I think people need to be aware and conscious of their level of inflammation, stress, because those do directly contribute to cancer. Because really what happens when you contract cancer, oftentimes the body can't recognize that there are cancerous cells inside it. You have cancer right now, I have cancer right now, but it's no big deal because our bodies proactively clean out those cells. It's part of our immune system. It happens every single day. But when you are stressed or inflamed, your body loses that ability, and that's really when you can get in trouble.
Yeah, it's so confusing because so many of the things we've been told are not true. Like now we hear nicotine is preventing Alzheimer's, and we hear, not to get the radiation from the man. It's all very confusing. But there are natural preventatives, such as things that I take now, thanks to you all: turmeric, green tea extract, black cumin seed oil, key components in the wellness company's new product, which I personally am very excited about. It's called Shield. Tell us about it.
Dr. Kelly Victory created this product out of her own cancer experience. So kind of like you just mentioned, she went through surgery, she got radiation, and then she was looking at her options, and she was looking at chemo, but realized that chemotherapy, really damages all cells in the body. It's a very blunt instrument, right? And she really wanted to make sure that her immune system was strong. So she did extensive research, as doctors do, and found 12 different compounds that directly contribute to the body's ability to effectively fight cancer. The problem was that it was a whole plate full of pills that she had to take every day. So we worked really hard together, Kelly and I, and we came up with Shield, which is a 2-part product. It's a hot cocoa-based drink mix, as well as a soft gel that you take with food. And you take it every day, and it naturally enhances your body's ability and your immune system's ability to clear itself of cancer cells, which is really what you want for a long and healthy life.
Hot cocoa. I didn't realize that, Peter. Well, I can't wait to try that. Thank you so much for being with us. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Dr. Gina.
All right. February is National Cancer Prevention Awareness Month. Now more than ever, we want to be asking what each of us can do to lower our chances of cancer. And if you or a loved one is battling it, well, you want to make sure that no stone is left unturned. So that's where the Wellness Company comes in. You know them. We have their great doctors like Dr. Kelly Victory, who invented the Shield product, and also Dr. Peter McCullough. We have them on all the time. The Wellness Company and their doctors are medical professionals. You can trust them. The Wellness Company is committed to providing safe, low-cost alternatives to big pharma, from ivermectin to methylene blue, some of the fan favorites, to their fantastic new product we were just talking about with Peter Gallulli called Shield. Hot chocolate, how can you beat that? And so much more. The Wellness Company gives you the opportunity to make sure the promise of the MAHA movement is a reality for your life. This February, let's take control of our health. Go to twc.health/RAV. Give it an order, twc.health/RAV. Use the promo code RAV. It'll save you 10%. Prepare now. Don't wait. Deep row. Oh, wait, no, sorry. Coming up. Wrong block, Gina. Senate Minority Leader, stick to the prompter, Gina. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer slams GOP efforts on election integrity in moments. Find out what this Democrat dinosaur is accusing Republicans of doing. We have his comments next on American Sunrise.
Hey folks, it's your friend John Rich. I co-founded Old Glory Bank because we heard too many stories about people getting canceled by their bank because they didn't agree with their politics. The government wanted to know where you shop. If you bought a Bible or you shopped at a sporting goods store, you're probably on a list. We created Old Glory Bank because America needed a bank that would protect their privacy and security. Exercising your constitutional rights is not a criminal activity, and neither is loving your country. At Old Glory Bank, we stand with you.
I'm a J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
About a year in prison.
We were prosecuted, persecuted.
J6ers have been treated like terrorists.
And we need your help.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
For just $10 or more, you can help these patriots get back on their feet again. Every dollar you give is being matched up to $50,000. Go now to j6support.com and donate today. From powerhouse vocalist Natasha Owens, known for standout singles like Trump One and Somali Waltz, comes her brand new release, The Boss, released on Real America's Music. This is the direct response to Bruce Springsteen's recent release, The Streets of Minneapolis. While Springsteen once branded himself as a voice of the working class, The Boss gives a voice to everyday Americans and reminds listeners who truly shapes the future. The Real America's Voice audience has the power to move charts and shake the industry. Download it right now. Scan the QR code or search The Boss on iTunes. Push it up the charts. Make them notice.
Welcome back to American Sunrise. It's now time to stay awake, not woke. And who's woke today, you ask? Well, cue Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer. Schumer claiming that Republicans are pushing for election integrity so that poor people and people of color can't vote. don't. But secondly, what they are proposing in this so-called SAVE Act is like Jim Crow 2.0. They make it so hard to get any kind of voter ID that more than 20 million legitimate people, mainly poorer people and people of color, will not be able to vote under this law. We will not let it pass in the Senate. We are fighting it tooth and nail. It's an outrageous proposal that is, that shows the sort of political bias of the MAGA right. They don't want poor people to vote. They don't want people of color to vote because they often don't vote for them.
Ooh, I wish I had some popcorn for these responses. Let's bring in Gina and David to talk a bit more about this. David, I know you got something to say. Go ahead, brother. This is what you call a softball, David. Knock it out of the park.
I'd love to, and I'd like to say, bless his heart, but what an idiot. That's ridiculous, first of all. Okay, a couple of things. You know what MAGA wants? You know what normal, regular Americans want? U.S. citizens to vote in U.S. elections. What a novel concept. What a novel concept. It's not that hard. Now, here's the thing. To be clear, let's all just get on the same page here. The SAVE Act is not saying that you need a driver's license to vote. In other words, that's not what they're talking about here. It's about proof of citizenship, not ID. So we're not talking about driver's license here. What Schumer and the Democrats are saying is that, and what the act does say, is that you have to prove citizenship. So therefore, you're going to need either a passport or a birth certificate. And Schumer's saying there are 20 million people out there that pretty much aren't going to be able to get that. Now, I got a lot of problems with that, number one. First of all, just because they don't have it, at least according to these figures that he's citing from the Brennan Department, just because they're out there with these figures doesn't mean they can't get the documents. And more importantly, Dr. G, that there's actually in the SAVE Act an actual provision that says, look, if you can't get the documents, just go to your state, go online. If you've been verified in other ways, in other places, whether through a driver's license or some sort of federal program you're in, and you've already been verified, then that's it. That's all you need. You don't need the documents. You've already been verified. Don't worry about it. So look, I'm sick and tired of this stuff. Really, I am.
For real. You need a driver's license to fish, to catch fish legally. I mean, to drive a boat. I mean, it's just the list goes on. And I realize that they're not asking for licenses. This is separate. This is requesting citizenship. But like you said, David, you can have it that way if you have a real ID. Imagine voting for someone who thinks you're too stupid to obtain a piece of paper proving your citizenship. Imagine the insult to, what did he say, minorities and low-income people.
Poor people.
Imagine voting for someone that thinks you're so stupid and incompetent you can't obtain a piece of paper that proves that you're a citizen. Just imagine that.
Is it just me, or how do you go about getting a birth certificate? I think the way you do it, you just go online, right? And you pay X amount, $10.
You do. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Is there a fee, though?
Simple.
There's a fee, right? $10,
like
$15 bucks, I don't know.
Last time I did it, and this was quite honestly for my daughters for something. I think for their passport, we were getting them passports. We went through, and I guess at this point, it's probably maybe 10 years ago. It was maybe a $15 to $25 fee. You go to the county where your child is born or where you're born. You can go online. And you request a birth certificate, and it's maybe, I think you have to put in a social security number, which most people would have. One would think you'd have your social security number, either the card or you at least know the number. It's a $15 to $20 fee.
I thought the Democrats love to spend money. If they love to spend money, then why don't they just put that in the bill? Say, you know what, we'll pay for everybody's birth certificate that doesn't have one. I know.
They already do. There are many ways to get all that for free.
Of course. Give me a freaking break.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even have to look to know that. I just know it.
I'm being facetious and rhetorical and all those other things. Go ahead, Gina.
I should have known.
Facetious, we're going to have to take a break. Oh, you're saying you're being facetious. Okay, I get it. Hey, I told you guys it was going to be a doozy. I wish I had my popcorn on hand. Look, there's a new book out that's sounding the alarm on religious liberty. Catholic League President Bill Donahue releases Christianity in the crosshairs, claiming that elites and radical activists are targeting Christian believers, especially Catholics. His call to action for people of faith ahead.
Hey folks, it's your friend John Rich. I co-founded Old Glory Bank because we heard too many stories about people getting canceled by their bank because they didn't agree with their politics. The government wanted to know where you shop. If you bought a Bible or you shopped at a sporting goods store, you're probably on a list. We created Old Glory Bank because America needed a bank that would protect their privacy and security. Exercising your constitutional rights is not a criminal activity, and neither is loving your country. At Old Glory Bank, we stand with you.
I'm a J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
About a year in prison.
We were prosecuted, persecuted.
J6ers have been treated like terrorists.
And we need your help.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
For just $10 or more, you can help these patriots get back on their feet again. Every dollar you give is being matched up to $50,000. Go now to j6support.com and donate today. From powerhouse vocalist Natasha Owens, known for standout singles like Trump One and Somali Waltz, comes her brand new release, The Boss, released on Real America's Music. This is the direct response to Bruce Springsteen's recent release, The Streets of Minneapolis. While Springsteen once branded himself as a voice of the working class, The Boss gives a voice to everyday Americans and reminds listeners who truly shapes the future. The Real America's Voice audience has the power to move charts and shake the industry. Download it right now. Scan the QR code or search The Boss on iTunes. Push it up the charts. Make them notice.
God bless the USA.
In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth.
Welcome back to American Sunrise. It's time now for our Moments of Faith, brought to us by Lee Greenwood and the God Bless the USA Bible. In focus today, the president and CEO of the Catholic League, Bill Donahue, has a new book out today called Christianity in the Crosshairs. Ruling class and radicals find a common enemy. Their target, Christian believers, especially Catholics. Bill Donahue is calling on readers to stand up for religious liberty and defend their faith. And he joins us now. Welcome to the show, Bill. Thank you so much for being with us. Tell us, what was your inspiration behind this book? Why did you decide to write this?
Well, I'm a sociologist, and I've been tracking many cultural changes for a long time. This is my 12th book. But I got to the point where I'm just so fed up with the intolerance and the hypocrisy on the part of the intellectuals. I was a professor for many years. There's a lot of good people in the professoriate, but unfortunately, too many of them have been indoctrinated, and they're on the hard left. They're all secularist. Now, the secular militants are the ones who really hate religion, and particularly Christianity. Why? Because their ultimate goal is control. They want power. Here we have the radicals joining in with many members, not all of them, but many of the ruling class. They'd like to seduce us intellectually. Their goal is to basically make us into the compliant citizen. That's not my term. That's a term by Bill Ivey, who was a senior advisor to Hillary Clinton. We want a compliant citizenry. In other words, a passive, docile group of people who will do what we tell them to do to reset society. But the problem for them is Christians. Christians are so committed to their religion that they stand as an obstacle to their mission.
Well, our founding fathers would be rolling in their graves because what they stood for was freedom, and including religious freedom. And Christians in this country, this is a Christian country, should be able to have those freedoms. And you know, this anti-Christian rhetoric does have ripple effects. It does have implications all over the world. We're seeing religious persecution against Christians. I think of Nigeria, for example, something that we don't even see covered in the mainstream media. Talk to us a little bit more about this and how it really does have, like I said, ripple effects and bigger impacts throughout the rest of the world.
Well, you're quite right. And the example you gave, and I gave the example of the militant secularists. You gave the example essentially of Islamists, the radical Islamists. So in both cases, you have extremes, don't you? If you happen to be a secularist, if you happen to be a Muslim, you're not a problem. The problem is when you become a militant secularist and you have an agenda to shove it down the throats of everybody, and you have a problem because family and religion stand in the way, which means you have to disable them. The situation in Nigeria is similar, but it's also different. It's similar in the sense that it's a kind of a totalitarian situation where they want to control you. On the other hand, in this case, it's the extremists on the religious end, in this case, Muslim extremists. But both extremes really work against us. And in both cases, they go after Christians. The secularists and the Islamists both target Christians.
Well, Bill Donahue, we so appreciate you being with us this morning. For our viewers, if they want to go check out your book, where can they go?
Well, it's available by Chan Books. It's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, every place. Today is the actual publication day, so I'm very excited about it.
Very excited as well. Christianity in the Crosshairs. Bill Donahue, thanks again. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Back with the second hour of American Sunrise in just 2 minutes. Stick around.
Introducing the limited edition God Bless the USA Bible, inspired by Lee Greenwood's hit song and the most recognized patriotic anthem in America, God Bless the USA. The God Bless the USA large print leather-bound King James Bible also contains America's founding documents, the U.S. Constitution, the Bill of Rights, the Declaration of Independence, and the Pledge of Allegiance, along with a handwritten chorus to Lee Greenwood's song, God Bless the USA. With its large print and slim design, this Bible invites you to explore God's Word anywhere, anytime. The God Bless the USA Bible makes the perfect gift and cherished family heirloom keepsake to pass on to future generations. Designed for an easy reading experience in the trusted King James Version translation, this large print Bible is perfect to take to church, Bible study, work, and for traveling. Order yours today at GodBlessTheUSABible.com.
Hey folks, it's your friend John Rich. I co-founded Old Glory Bank because we heard too many stories about people getting canceled by their bank because they didn't agree with their politics. The government wanted to know where you shop. If you bought a Bible or you shopped at a sporting goods store, you're probably on a list. We created Old Glory Bank because America needed a bank that would protect their privacy and security. Exercising your constitutional rights is not a criminal activity, and neither is loving your country. At Old Glory Bank, we stand with you.
I'm a J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
About a year in prison.
We were prosecuted, persecuted.
J6ers have been treated like terrorists.
And we need your help.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
For just $10 or more, you can help these patriots get back on their feet again. Every dollar you give is being matched up to $50,000. Go now to j6support.com and donate today. From powerhouse vocalist Natasha Owens, known for standout singles like Trump One and Somali Waltz, comes her brand new release, The Boss, released on Real America's Music. This is the direct response to Bruce Springsteen's recent release, The Streets of Minneapolis. While Springsteen once branded himself as a voice of the working class, The Boss gives a voice to everyday Americans and reminds listeners who truly shapes the future. The Real America's Voice audience has the power to move charts and shake the industry. Download it right now. Scan the QR code or search The Boss on iTunes. Push it up the charts. Make them notice.
Coming up on this second hour of American Sunrise, authorities reveal new information in the deadly shooting inside a Rhode Island ice rink. Police now say Robert Dorgan, who identifies as Roberta Esposito, opened fire during a high school hockey game. We'll have the very latest in just a moment. Plus, the search for Nancy Guthrie enters its 17th day as TMZ now reporting it has received a fourth email demanding a Bitcoin payment in exchange for information about Nancy's disappearance. We'll have the very latest on the search for Nancy Guthrie coming up. And then later, former Vice President Kamala Harris leads the pack in a poll of potential Democrat contenders in the 2028 presidential election. However, California Governor Gavin Newsom is polling very closely behind. We'll talk about the upcoming battle for the Democrat nomination and its weak bench of nominees. Those stories and so much more right now on this second hour of American Sunrise.
Good morning, America.
Welcome to American Sunrise.
Whether it's culture,
we have breaking news to share with you.
Politics.
President Trump is joining us live now from Florida.
We've got you covered.
This is what it looks like to be a patriot.
We have to protect the American family.
The American dream is still alive.
I'm David Brody.
I'm Terrance.
And I'm Dr. Gina.
Welcome back, everybody, to the second hour of American Sunrise. I'm David Brody, coming to you from D.C. Let's bring in Dr. G in West Palm and T. Bates in our Denver newsroom. Good morning. So Jesse Jackson passing away at the age of 84. We talked about in the first hour. President Trump out with a statement. We'll put up the statement a little later. But basically, just to summarize, he very nice things to say. Called him a force of nature, Dr. G. Said he was a good man. He said that he loved his family greatly, and sending deepest sympathies and condolences. And there was more in there, you know, President, oh, there it is. You can see some of it there. But bottom line is, overall, very gracious from President Trump.
Well, that's good. We all should be, on the day someone dies, very gracious toward them. As Terrance and I both pointed out, you know, you cannot take away from Jesse Jackson. Yes, he was a leftist. Yes, he, you know, participated in making a lot of money on things that seem divisive to some of us. But at the same time, you cannot take away from him what a cultural impact he definitely had. And it did seem to me, Terrance, that he softened in his later days. I know he was not a friend of Obama's. So to the degree that he was political in his final days, it seemed that he was much more ecumenical about it, and certainly was always very friendly to me when I saw him in green rooms and TV.
Yeah, very nice person. In fact, I'm just going to read what President Trump writes here. He was a good man with lots of personality, grit, and, quote, street smarts, He was very gregarious, someone who truly loved people. So that really, I think, encapsulates it all. And Jesse Jackson, unfortunately, passing away now at 84 years old. As you said, Dr. Gina, as many of us do, as we get older, we become wiser. And Jesse Jackson, of course, left his imprint on U.S. society and the world. In other headlines, guys, Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. continuing to try and make America healthy again by looking into the safety of ultra-processed foods. The secretary claims the current industry standards just aren't enough because food companies are allowed to independently verify the safety of their ingredients without government oversights, particularly if they are recognized by experts as safe. Kennedy says there is currently no single definition of ultra-processed foods used by the federal government and federal regulators. So as a result, the FDA and the Department of Agriculture are now working to change all of that and establish a uniform definition. Lawmakers in New Mexico set to start work today on an investigation into Jeffrey Epstein's Zorro Ranch. Epstein is accused of trafficking and sexually assaulting girls and women there. A bipartisan committee wants to hear testimony from survivors of alleged sexual abuse at the ranch, which is located about 30 miles outside the state capital of Santa Fe. New Mexico's so-called Truth Commission will be comprised of 4 lawmakers who were tasked with identifying ranch guests and state officials who may have known what was going on there or even taken part in sexual abuse at that mansion. Early voting in Georgia's 14th congressional district special election continues this morning after opening just yesterday. Nearly 20 candidates are vying to fill the seat that was vacated by Republican Marjorie Taylor Greene. President Trump is endorsing former prosecutor Clay Fuller. However, with so many people in the race, it may be difficult for one candidate to earn the majority needed to win the race outright. If that happens, the top 2 vote getters, regardless of party affiliation, will advance to a runoff. By the way, President Trump will be in that district later this week. I believe it's Thursday. He'll be there campaigning a little bit and talking to voters, so that's going to be interesting in a story that we'll be watching throughout the week. All right, let's get a quick check of your headline or for your forecast now. I apologize. I just gave you your headlines, didn't I? Meteorologist Tracy Anthony joining us in our West Palm studios. Tracy, you've got our hometown forecast. Good morning.
Hey, good morning. Yeah, this one coming in from the early hour as well. And it actually kind of ties right into the weather story because these systems that we're going to watch that are impacting the Intermountain West will move out over the plains, and areas like Worcester, Ohio will have a chance for some severe potential. So we're trending well above average for this time of year temperature wise. We're going to be in the 50s and 60s, but by about Thursday and Friday, we do have the chance for some strong and potentially severe thunderstorm activity across this area. So as you can see here, Cincinnati, Evansville, back towards St. Louis under that slight risk or a level 2 threat. And this is several days out. So oftentimes we've got a pretty high confidence that we will have some stronger storms across that region. So over the next 72 hours, it's the snow out west, but all the red dots over top of the rain and snow forecast is where we're going to have record potential highs. So extremely warm here across parts of the southeast. That's going to stretch along the Gulf Coast. And speaking of the Gulf Coast, Terrance, we know that today is Fat Tuesday. I know we all have, our own Nolans story there, but it's going to be very active on Bourbon Street. And they've got a pretty nice forecast today. This weekend, the forecast, they had to deal with some stronger storms, but should be relatively nice for Bourbon Street this afternoon.
It's going to be a lot going on there, Tracy. And just word to the wise, if a drink is called Hurricane and you know the damage that a real hurricane does, you may want to stay away from it. I'm just going to put it out there.
Hey, I've been there, yes. Stay away from the hurricane drinks.
That ain't what you want. That ain't what you want. Tracy, always good to talk to you. Have a good rest of the day.
Yep. You too.
All right. Let's get you over to David. David, similarly, I'm just going to give you that warning. I don't know if you partake in spirits, but if you ever go to New Orleans, if you've ever been, when you see the hurricane stand, it ain't the storm, and it will kind of drink. I guess I'm telling all my business, but I guess I needed some therapy this morning. David, thank you for listening.
No doubt about it, T. Bates. The only spirit right now I dabble in is the Holy Spirit. I used to do spirits back in college, but thank you, T. Bates. All right. We have new information regarding the recent shooting at a Rhode Island ice rink. Police have identified the shooter as a 56-year-old Robert Dorgan. He identifies as transgender. Wow. Well, what do you know? And goes by the name Roberta Esposito. We're also learning that the night before the shooting, where Dorgan shot 4 family members, Dorgan posted the following on X. He said, "Keep bashing us, but do not wonder why we go berserk." This, of course, follows another recent shooting in Canada where another transgender shooter killed at least 8 people and wounded dozens more. And, of course, there have been transgender shooters so often cited in the news, especially in the last couple of years. Joining us now with reaction is the editor-in-chief for Just the News, John Solomon. John, good morning. This feels like an investigation that my guess is the New York Times won't do anytime soon. But, my goodness, transgender shootings, this is becoming more and more commonplace, and I think that's an understatement.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And you look at the court records associated with this family in the year or two before this tragic shooting yesterday, and you see how this man's transgender transition roiled and ruined his whole family. His whole family was taken apart by his desire to be something that God didn't intend him to be. And so it ends tragically. We've had a whole bunch of these. You can go back to the Covenant shooting in Nashville. There's about 8 or 9 major shootings in the last 3 years that involve a transgender suspect. And I think that is a really significant clue. And the FBI often does assessments looking at emerging threats. And it'll be very interesting now with this pattern to see if their profilers, if their threat assessments begin to say, hey, people that are in these transgender surgeries because of the hormone changes, all the things that they go through to try to force the body to be something that it's not, whether that is creating a potential proclivity for violence. And I think you're going to see some sort of assessment on that in the next few months.
John, shoring up our elections is really critical these days, and it's something that Congress has been focusing on, of course. The Save America Act has already made it through the House. The Senate, we don't know what's going to ultimately happen with that. And in the meantime, President Trump declaring that voter ID will be required for this year's upcoming midterm elections, even if Congress doesn't pass the legislation. Taking to True Social on Friday, the president claiming that Democrats oppose voter ID and citizenship requirements in order to cheat. Those were his words in elections. He also says he has a new legal argument to impose voter ID regardless of Congress, and he's promising that it will apply to the midterms. He's even calling for ending mail-in ballots except for in limited cases. It sounds to me, John, like the president is willing to maybe push this through executive order. Is that something that he ultimately can do that would be implemented coast to coast?
He could. It'll get challenged in the courts, and we'll see where the ultimately where the Supreme Court came down. Remind everybody that during Joe Biden's tenure, there were a couple of executive orders involving elections that the Supreme Court didn't overturn. They just didn't weigh in one way or the other. So there is some precedent for this. I don't think we should give up on the Senate yet. I know the president had a long and painful conversation Friday with Senator John Thune, the Senate Majority Leader. I think there's about to be some really significant revelations about the threats to our election system, potentially some improper collaboration between foreign powers and American figures trying to gain improper advantages in the election. I think our intelligence community has been far more aware of this and not been willing to tell the American public. I have a funny feeling Donald Trump's going to tell the public, and when that narrative is built, when people realize that maybe we're not as secure as we thought, that maybe there are bad actors even on our own soil, sometimes they collaborate with foreign powers, that maybe then some of the reluctant senators will flip their votes. They're at 49 votes right now in the Senate. You need 51, and then you need John Thune to change the filibuster to an old-fashioned talk and standing filibuster where eventually people drop because they get tired, and then you can vote. That's the way Calhoun and Clay did it back in the 1800s. It's the way we should do it in the 21st century. But I actually think there's a strong possibility and probability that this summer the Senate gets this signature piece of legislation through.
John, I thought that the Epstein files were largely about underage girls. You know, we see them, you know, I thought, oh, it's really terrible these things happen. I don't think I realized this was literally about babies and child torture, and that this wasn't just something that used to happen, that happened when Epstein was prolific in what he was doing, that it's still happening now very much, and there are very powerful names being mentioned. Now, I'm so tired of hearing about all of the innocent people that are in it, because we realize there are innocent people in it. But John, I don't understand when they say names were redacted to protect victims. Well, how come people to and from in these disgusting child torture emails, people that wrote them, that they were to or that they were from, are redacted? I don't understand that. I know you know the answer to that probably, but I don't understand that, because I thought we were here just to protect victims. And secondly, the current names mentioned in these files, will there be punishment? I mean, there are innocent people, but there are a lot of people that are not innocent who have exacted this, not just on young women, on children, on babies, mutilation, torture, infanticide, the list goes on. John, talk to us about what's going to happen here.
Well, as I've said many times, and that's why we did the 2021 series of stories we did at Just the News with one of the premier child sex trafficking experts in the country. She worked as a reporter for a year. We wanted people to know just how bad it was, and also how bad the decision making was when this could have been rolled up, when people were in the statute of limitations on these crimes. It goes back to the Bush Justice Department. I keep saying this, but it's so important. It was an incredibly derelict decision for the Bush Justice Department to let Jeffrey Epstein walk in 2006 and 2007, when all the evidence of what you just mentioned was sitting in front of them. It is a story of power. It's a story of elitism. It's a story of insulation, much like we saw with the Biden family on very different allegations, right? Weren't sex allegations so much as it were corruption allegations. But the rich protect their own, the political elite protect their own.
But John,
and in this case, the only people who didn't get protected were the men and women
who John, it's still happening.
Subjected to the horrific stuff.
I mean, that's the horrible part, is that it's still happening today. This isn't something that happened in the past. This is something that is still happening today and will continue to happen unless
the drug cartels are trafficking people today. They're doing it today. I mean, we just saw a whole bunch of arrests last week. There is a massive sex trafficking ring all across this United States. The FBI is beginning to roll up the bad actors today. I fear those who participated in Jeffrey Epstein's sick fantasies probably are going to walk, given the statute of limitations and the mishandling of things. But we need to stop those who are currently in action. And I think that's what the FBI is doing very well. DEA is doing a good job. ICE is doing a good job. We're rolling up a lot of bad actors today, but I fear there'll be a stain in our country for a long time on the way we handled Epstein.
Thanks. John Solomon, great to have you. Speaking about jail, we're going to Anchor Jail. We're back in a moment, everybody.
Hey folks, it's your friend John Rich. I co-founded Old Glory Bank because we heard too many stories about people getting canceled by their bank because they didn't agree with their politics. The government wanted to know where you shop. If you bought a Bible or you shopped at a sporting goods store, you're probably on a list. We created Old Glory Bank because America needed a bank that would protect their privacy and security. Exercising your constitutional rights is not a criminal activity, and neither is loving your country. At Old Glory Bank, we stand with you.
I'm a J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
About a year in prison.
We were prosecuted, persecuted.
J6ers have been treated like terrorists.
And we need your help.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
For just $10 or more, you can help these patriots get back on their feet again. Every dollar you give is being matched up to $50,000. Go now to j6support.com and donate today. From powerhouse vocalist Natasha Owens, known for standout singles like Trump One and Somali Waltz, comes her brand new release, The Boss, released on Real America's Music. This is the direct response to Bruce Springsteen's recent release, The Streets of Minneapolis. While Springsteen once branded himself as a voice of the working class, The Boss gives a voice to everyday Americans and reminds listeners who truly shapes the future. The Real America's Voice audience has the power to move charts and shake the industry. Download it right now. Scan the QR code or search The Boss on iTunes. Push it up the charts. Make them notice.
Welcome back to American Sunrise. We're continuing to follow the latest developments in the search for Nancy Guthrie, the mother of Today anchor Savannah Guthrie. A man claiming to know who took Guthrie is demanding $50,000 in Bitcoin for information. This is the fourth email that TMZ says they've received from him, all using the same crypto account. This comes as Arizona authorities announce all of Guthrie's family members have been cleared as potential suspects, including spouses. Pima County Sheriff Chris Nanos says the family has been nothing but cooperative and gracious. Joining us now with the latest is RAV correspondent Kevin Posobiec. Kevin, good morning to you. You're there on the scene. Nancy Guthrie has been missing for 17 days now. What more can you tell us this morning as the search continues? Looks like a little bit of a rainy morning there outside of the house.
It certainly is. It certainly is, Emily, and thanks for having me back as field correspondent. So, yeah, the TMZ thing is a little fishy. It's the fourth one that we've seen so far. And, yeah, so he's been putting it back onto this ransom person in that they will get the money, you know, if we get information. But really, if this is the kidnapper, he won't be able to do much with that money anyway. And also, I want to make a point that regarding this TMZ report, one thing Harvey seems to have overlooked is that the people are being referred to as them. He's seen them and they have her. So, you know, we take that in the big picture here. This could be, perhaps a trans person, actually. I mean, we've seen the Rhode Island shooting yesterday. So just another point there to it is that, you know, he's claiming that he's seen Nancy and he's with them. So, you know, they, them, the pronoun thing has been overlooked. And also you can see the glove there. I want to give you an update on that too, if we can. So I originally thought that was, faux leather. It looks kind of thick, but I've been told that this is actually like a latex glove, very similar to what mechanics wear. And, so that's very thin. That's a very thin kind of glove. I mean, they're a couple mils thick, just so they don't rip, but it's much more fragile than we're led to believe initially. But yeah, I thought that was leather at first, but it's just, slightly thick plastic latex. Mm-hmm. So you take that into account as well, regarding sending it across the country here for evidence.
Yeah, a lot of details, a lot of questions still to answer. Kevin Posobiec there on the scene for us. Thank you for being with us this morning.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Coming up on American Sunrise, the first ever mission signals a new era for war fighting and nuclear power after a fleet of C-17 transports moved a new micro-reactor across state lines. We'll have those details right after the break. Don't go anywhere.
Hey folks, it's your friend John Rich. I co-founded Old Glory Bank because we heard too many stories about people getting canceled by their bank because they didn't agree with their politics. The government wanted to know where you shop. If you bought a Bible or you shopped at a sporting goods store, you're probably on a list. We created Old Glory Bank because America needed a bank that would protect their privacy and security. Exercising your constitutional rights is not a criminal activity, and neither is loving your country. At Old Glory Bank, we stand with you.
I'm a J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
About a year in prison.
We were prosecuted, persecuted.
J6ers have been treated like terrorists.
And we need your help.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
For just $10 or more, you can help these patriots get back on their feet again. Every dollar you give is being matched up to $50,000. Go now to j6support.com and donate today. From powerhouse vocalist Natasha Owens, known for standout singles like Trump One and Somali Waltz, comes her brand new release, The Boss, released on Real America's Music. This is the direct response to Bruce Springsteen's recent release, The Streets of Minneapolis. While Springsteen once branded himself as a voice of the working class, The Boss gives a voice to everyday Americans and reminds listeners who truly shapes the future. The Real America's Voice audience has the power to move charts and shake the industry. Download it right now. Scan the QR code or search The Boss on iTunes. Push it up the charts. Make them notice. At Real America's Voice, we know that you want to be a part of something bigger. That's why we've teamed up with AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens, to build a real community of folks who care about faith and our country's future.
There is no force on earth that can stop us from saving our country.
Want to be a part of this movement? It's easy. Just scan the QR code on your screen right now. That's right. Grab your phone and scan the QR code to join the AMAC and Real America's Voice family today. By scanning the QR code, you'll unlock exclusive content, connect with like-minded Americans, and be first in line for events that celebrate our shared values. So don't wait. Scan the QR code. Join us today and become part of a community that stands for faith, family, and freedom.
Real rights, they come from God.
With AMAC and Real America's Voice. Go ahead. Scan the QR code now.
Welcome back, everyone. We're about 6 minutes away from the opening bell at the New York Stock Exchange. We'll, of course, take you there live the moment that happens. In the meantime, here's a quick look at the futures board. Not so good top to bottom. You can see a lot of red on that board. All of this as Wall Street is looking to rebound from a fairly tough week last week and some significant losses. Again, we'll take you to Wall Street and the opening bell in just a little bit. But first, let's get you over to David Brody. In fact, David, you've got another David that you're going to be introducing here momentarily. It's the David and David Show.
I do. He's got a great first name, by the way, and I like it. I like it a lot. All right, T. Bates. The U.S. Air Force just hauled a full micro-reactor, the Ward 250. They hauled it across state lines in a series of C-17 transports. This is wild stuff. It's a first-of-its-kind move. It could revolutionize how America powers remote bases and disaster zones and also the battlefield. The van-sized reactor, that's how big it is, built by Valor Atomics, isn't fueled yet, but the message is clear. Nuclear power no longer has to basically stay put. It can be deployed anywhere, anytime. You hear that, China? Joining us now is the host of Breaking Point here on RAV. That would be our good friend, David Zier. So, David, you just got back after traveling with the Energy Secretary and the Department of War Undersecretary. So tell us more about this. Really, it's an incredible development.
It's huge, and flying 6,000 miles in about 14 hours on Sunday from D.C. to California to Utah, back to D.C. When they asked me if I packed my own cargo that day, I had to say no, of course, because we had a 5-megawatt nuclear reactor on board that we brought to the San Rafael testing labs to Utah. And as Secretary Wright told me and confirmed, China and Russia have led the way on the small modular reactor technology. China conducting an SMR test about 2 weeks ago in the island province of Hainan. And the current global landscape has China holding the lead in deployment and grid integration on these things. And Russia has the first floating SMR going all the way back to 2020. But the United States leads in the number of private designs. And the difference between this is that Chris Wright, Pete Hegseth, and Trump are focused on nuclear energy. And we're facing a nuclear renaissance because if these things test well, according to Trump's executive orders, to get this reactor online with critical performance by the 250th anniversary of America and being deployed in about a year or two out there, we can scale these things by the thousands, something no other country can do for civilian, AI, production, manufacturing, and military applications here and globally.
So you mentioned, that's interesting, because you mentioned about getting it deployed in about a year or so after the 250th anniversary. Is that what you're hearing, end of 2027? Is that kind of the timetable, David?
Yes, and if you recall, if you've been following the small modular reactors, I think there was one in Abilene, 1 megawatt, 30 megawatts in Oak Ridge, Tennessee, and the normal nuclear power plants are like under a gigawatt, or which is 300 to 900 megawatts. So these are small, but they were talking about this technology being available on scale by 2030, 2031. So because of Trump's impetus and because of all the focus on our military with Hegseth and Secretary of Energy partnering up with Valor Atomics, this young leadership in this company here, producing these incredible high-temperature gas-cooled reactors cooled by helium. This is unprecedented, and I think we're moving at a speed and scale, which is the focus of all of Trump's executive orders that were codified in the NDAA. I know I talk about that a lot, but rapid capabilities, getting stuff to the marketplace, holding defense contractors and private companies accountable. And as Hegseth said to us in Maine at Bath Iron Works last week, he doesn't care whose name is on the side of these products. He wants them delivered to the warfighters and to our community, so we have national security and our electric grid is safe from, say, EMPs, other natural disasters, and we're producing stuff in manufacturing capacity at light speed.
Yeah, I mean, just fascinating stuff. You mentioned the electric grid. Obviously, that's key. And I know this. I think these things power like 5,000 homes or something like that, or something along those lines. David Zier, great to have you with us. Can you get some sleep? I mean, you look great, by the way, for like no sleep, by the way.
Yeah, we slept like a baby on the way back, but our cameraman, Will Lawrence, got incredible footage. I'll be playing that on Breaking Point this weekend, and it was just an honor to be part of it.
You're the best. We appreciate you as always. My goodness.
Thanks, David.
That is some serious work. All right, we are over to T. Bates now, the opening bell, sponsored by AMAC.
The Association of Mature American Citizens is the conservative voice for Americans 50 and older. AMAC is fighting for the values that you hold dear. Join today. Together, we can write the course of America.
We're less than a minute away from the opening bell at the New York Stock Exchange. The applause is already underway as U.S. Today Co. is at the podium. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That means the bell is going to ring here in short order. And we'll get an idea of how the markets are shaping up on this Tuesday of trading. It was a rough week last week, so many investors hoping that this week is going to be a little bit better. All right, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The bell is ringing, and just like that, it looks like the Dow is up. A couple of blemishes there. The S&P 500 and the NASDAQ down right now. The rest of the board generally looking pretty good, with VIX, or actually generally not looking so hot at the moment. VIX is the one bright spot at the bottom of our screen. We'll, of course, will continue to monitor all of this for you throughout the day. And if you're one of those people who's going to be trading or investing, we do hope it ultimately turns out to be a good day for you. Still to come here on American Sunrise, though, new polling data shows that former Vice President Kamala Harris leads the field of potential Democrat contenders for 2028. Harris is out front, but not by far. Who really has the early edge? We'll talk about it after the break.
From powerhouse vocalist Natasha Owens, known for standout singles like Trump One and Somali Waltz, comes her brand new release, The Boss, released on Real America's Music. This is the direct response to Bruce Springsteen's recent release, The Streets of Minneapolis. While Springsteen once branded himself as a voice of the working class, The Boss gives a voice to everyday Americans and reminds listeners who truly shapes the future. The Real America's Voice audience has the power to move charts and shake the industry. Download it right now. Scan the QR code or search The Boss on iTunes. Push it up the charts. Make them notice. From powerhouse vocalist Natasha Owens, known for standout singles like Trump One and Somali Waltz, comes her brand new release, The Boss, released on Real America's Music. This is the direct response to Bruce Springsteen's recent release, The Streets of Minneapolis. While Springsteen once branded himself as a voice of the working class, The Boss gives a voice to everyday Americans and reminds listeners who truly shapes the future. The Real America's Voice audience has the power to move charts and shake the industry. Download it right now. Scan the QR code or search The Boss on iTunes. Push it up the charts. Make them notice. Real America's Voice is growing, and now it's all in one place. Introducing the new and improved RAV app, built for access, community, and choice, not paywalls. Here's the key. RAV is still free to watch. No sign-in, no membership required. Your favorite live streams, breaking coverage, and video on demand are all right there. Free, just like always.
For the War Room Posse, we have to be a force multiplier on this. We have to stick the landing.
In the White House, in the Oval Office, you're crushing it, my friend.
And if you want more, the members section is your backstage pass. Get exclusive behind-the-scenes photos and videos, insider moments from the studio and the field, and early access to new content before it goes public. Members can also unlock special experiences like virtual meet and greets, member-only auctions, and select event access. Plus, commercial-free viewing of certain shows inside the app. It's not just an app, it's a community. Download the RAV app today. Find it in the App Store and Google Play.
All right, welcome back to American Sunrise. I'm Dr. G. Thanks for joining us this morning. We invite you to hop on our conversation on YouTube, Getter, and Rumble. Time now to take the political pulse of America. Here's the beat today. A new polling snapshot from the tracker race to the White House shows Kamala Harris is out front in the early 2028 primary landscape, but not by much. Harris sits at 27.5% nationally, just ahead of Gavin Newsom at 22.7%. Far behind them, Alexandra Ocasio, you know who she is, AOC, at 9%, Pete Buttigieg at 8.7%, Josh Shapiro at 4.9 and J.B. Pritzker at 3.4. While Newsweek reports that Harris leads the early polls, betting market Kalshi paints a different picture, giving Newsom the edge with a 32% chance of winning the nomination. Separate survey from Focal Data shows Harris with an even wider lead, but with a field this crowded, there we go, and divided, what does it really mean for 2028? Well, joining us now with analysis is the host of America's Voice Live and the Steve Gruber Show. Steve, good morning.
Good morning.
Who do you think the nominee is on the Democrat side in 28?
Well, if I was going to place a bet today, I'm going to say it's going to be AOC. And the reason is she's going to get piles of money. Yeah, there it is. She was a train wreck in Munich, and that's fine. But look, she is the representative of this fringe part of the party. And when she announces her candidacy, which she certainly will, she's going to get boatloads of money. Does she survive the primaries? I don't know. But right now, she's the leading contender to bring in more money than anybody else because it's going to be the Soros-backed wing of the party that's going to bring in trainloads of cash for her. Kamala Harris has no political future, all right? So let's just get to that. She has no political path forward. Whatever she has for support now will evaporate quickly. J.B. Pritzker, with all of his money, might be able to contend for a while. Josh Shapiro out of Pennsylvania, also a strong contender for the Democrats. But compare that, any of them, to Marco Rubio's speech in Munich, and they all pale in comparison. Marco Rubio knocked it out of the park. Best speech defending Western civilization since Reagan, I think, would be fair to say. I mean, his speech was remarkable and a real clear definition of what the Trump administration is. That's why Marco was so effective, because it's a clear delineation and explanation of what the Trump doctrine is globally. And that is defending Western civilization. Don't be ashamed of who you are, America. Stand up and be proud for who you are, America. It's about damn time.
So let me just say, let's go there then, shall we? Marco Rubio and J.D. Vance in 2028. Let's talk about it. I know what's been said. I got it, right? Rubio's not, Vance is running, I'm not running. Yeah, whatever. Bottom line is, I'm sorry. This feels like a Rubio momentum situation. Vance, as an heir apparent, as Gina's been saying for a while here, the worst spot to be in when you're the heir apparent. That is not a good place to be in. And I'm sorry, there's just a lot of talk about Rubio now, and I can see Trump endorsing Rubio over Vance. I know people don't think it will happen. I think it could, and I think if that happens, that's a game changer, clearly. Steve?
100%. And you say, let's talk about what's been said. What Donald Trump said recently was, I like them both. I think they're both great. And let's go back to Munich. Let's be honest about Marco Rubio at that podium, on that stage. He sounded, shall I say, presidential.
Yes, he did.
He
Boy,
did.
You better preach.
Yeah, and the fact of the matter is, look, he talked to the whole world and explained the situation about Western civilization in a way that was terrific. I mean, it was a home run speech. Yes, there's talk about him. And Donald Trump, let's talk about what he said. He thinks they're both terrific, meaning he's not putting his chips on any horse in 2026. We're a long way from 2028. We got to get through these midterms first. And so I agree. He could certainly endorse Marco Rubio, who has done a fabulous job as Secretary of State. I don't think you could argue that. You know, he's flown all over the world. He's made deals. They've stopped wars. They've inserted American power and authority and, yes, moral clarity on the world stage by way of Marco Rubio. Far more than J.D. And I like J.D., don't get me wrong. But when it comes to moral clarity and defining what America is in 2026, that job has fallen to Marco Rubio, and that's why the conversation is focused on him today.
100%.
And it seems to me that he can still tout, Marco Rubio in this particular case, can still tout America first. He can still tout MAGA, but now he also has those foreign policy chops that he's really sharp at.
Absolutely. Absolutely true. I mean, look, he's meeting with world leaders. He's on the world stage. He's out there delivering in a way that others have not. I mean, but it is a reflection, Marco Rubio is, of this president, of this administration, of what they truly believe at their core, which is America's worth defending. Our traditions, our heritage, our place in world history, all of that is worth defending. Stop apologizing for America. We're not interested in that anymore. We're interested in saying, look, we are the greatest example of freedom ever displayed on this planet. We are. And I'm tired of people saying, well, you know, this or that. You know, yeah, were we perfect? No. We've had our missteps along the way, but we've saved this world not once but twice. World War I, World War II. We've asserted ourselves as the leader of the free world, and it must remain a free world. And you look at Europe, what an embarrassment the EU is, truly. I mean, they throw people in jail for Facebook posts now while allowing those that have raped their citizens to walk free in their streets. That is an upside-down world. I want nothing to do with it. I want American leadership, and that's what we're talking about. Don't apologize for being an American. Be proud of it. And I don't care what your skin color is, because that's part of the distractions from the Democrats. Look, they want to, it's diversity. It's white supremacy. No, it's not. It's American exceptionalism. That's who we are. Be proud of it and stand up and fly that flag like you mean it, because people died for us to sit here and have this conversation today. And they did it for good reason, because freedom always prevails.
Steve, what impact do you think, if there are no arrests and no investigations regarding these children who are victims that we're hearing more and more about every single day? I think a lot of us thought it was young girls who were maybe hanging out at the mansion and this kind of thing. As you look into these files, you see the names of the very rich and powerful, people who have made politicians in both parties, people who are politicians in both parties named in this. You also see a lot, by the way, of redactions from perpetrators, people who these emails are to and from, talking about the horrendous things they've done to children. Finding out this is babies and children, Steve, it really changed everything for me. I mean, it's not that I didn't think that the files were important before, but now, I mean, like a lot of MAGA, I'm not alone in this, Steve. A lot of people say this isn't going away. We're not moving on. What happens if nothing happens? What impact does it have on the midterms?
Well, I would say this. If you're a MAGA person and you're complaining about the first year back in the White House for Donald Trump, he's not the problem, you are. And I say that quite bluntly. Look, he's delivered on the border. He's delivered on the economy. He's delivered on the world stage. He's delivered over and over again. And if you didn't get everything you wanted for Christmas in the first year, I'm sorry Donald Trump didn't show up with a magic wand in the Oval Office, all right? Give it some time. There's a lot of unwinding to do here. It's not just 4 years, it's 40 years of bad policies, bad decisions, and yes, evil leaders that did bad things. Let's see where it leads before we, get all worried about the midterms. The number one thing for the midterms is the economy. The number two thing for the midterms is the SAVE Act. The number three thing for the midterms is that case out of Louisiana in front of the Supreme Court that will nullify congressional districts based on race, which, by the way, will freeze California and Virginia. They won't be able to use new maps because they both explicitly talked about race in their redistricting. The Supreme Court will vote 6-3 in June. Those will be frozen. Louisiana will come back in line with 3 new seats. Texas is clear because they didn't do it that way. So there's 5 seats plus 8 for the Republicans to start the race on the election day of 2026. So if you're complaining that you didn't get everything you wanted at Christmas, take a breather, please. This is the greatest list of accomplishments in the first year of a presidency I've ever seen. And if you don't see that, you need to take your blinders off.
All right, but so just so I understand, but you can walk and chew gum at the same time. So are you saying this is a distraction? And because for some folks, this is the red line right here.
Well,
what red line? Is Donald Trump in there?
If I could just build on that too, Steve, I don't think it takes anything away from
Donald Trump. It's not about Donald Trump.
Give it some time. We've got 3.5 million documents that are being rifled through now. And so here we are in February, which is basically like being a basketball team that peaks in December. Nobody wants to peak in December. You want to peak at the end of February going into March. You want to peak in September going into October for this administration. We've got plenty of time on the clock here to get some things done. And to sit here in February and whine, basically, about I didn't get everything I wanted in the first year, stop it. This is the most accomplishments in the first year of any presidency I've ever seen. And historically speaking, it's on par with what any president has ever done. So my advice, take a break. I don't know what's in the Epstein files completely, but I see that they're bringing down the monarchy in Britain, is bringing down the government in Britain, is bringing down big, powerful players in the United States. Let it play out. Stop jumping to conclusions. Let it play out. And then you can decide. If you want to support Donald Trump because of what's in the Epstein files or what's not in the Epstein files,
I don't think anybody's saying that. I don't think, and I don't think it's limited to Donald Trump. I don't think anyone can wash away what Donald Trump has done. He's been the best president in our history. I don't think anyone's doubting that. It doesn't change that I think there's a level of distrust among the base for those in power, generally speaking, on both sides of the aisle. And I was just asking what impact you thought that would have in the midterms.
Well, we'll see.
Because Donald Trump isn't going to be on the ballot.
I don't have any idea. I don't have any idea in February what the impact's going to be in November. Neither does anybody else, no matter what they might tell you. And I would say that, I'm sorry, this might offend a couple of people. Donald Trump is not the best president in American history. George Washington and Abraham Lincoln, without those two, we wouldn't be sitting here today. In our lifetimes, potentially. Fair point. But did you notice the Democrats didn't even mention Bill Clinton on President's Day? Just as an aside, thought that was kind of cute.
Great point. Steve, we have to wrap.
I don't know what the impact of the Epstein's going to be.
I'm so sorry. But this conversation will be continued because you're right. This isn't going to be solved today. There's a lot more information coming. Steve Gruber, thanks for being with us today.
Thanks, Steve.
Thanks, Steve.
All right. All organic skincare brand called Purians has been turning heads recently in Elle Cosmopolitan and in LA Weekly, too. To date, they've helped over 60,000 women to fall in love with their skin complexion again. Purians delivers clean, organic skincare without harsh preservatives. Their cellular restore serum features a gentle alternative to retinol, which is called Bacucoil. In a small focus group, 92.9% of women saw fewer wrinkles after just 3 weeks applying cellular restore serum. Those are results, folks. Their cellular hydration serum contains tremella mushroom, which hydrates to the deepest layers of skin better than hyaluronic acid. Then there's Lift and Glow organic eye cream. Listen, if you want to lighten the appearance of the dark circles we get under our eyes and restore a radiant complexion, you're going to love Lift and Glow. Finally, they have Even Glow serum. Even Glow features Kakadu Plum, which delivers 100 times more concentrated vitamin C than an orange can. Even Glow works wonders for reducing dark spot appearance. And right now, for a limited time, you can save 35% on all Purians products. All you have to do is go to Purians.com and enter your coupon code EARLY at the checkout. That's PUREANCE.com. Coupon code EARLY. That'll save you 35% on your order. I hope you order today and let us know your results. Still to come on American Sunrise, former President Barack Obama walking back comments he made on a recent podcast appearance. If you saw it, you'll enjoy hearing about it. We're going to have the details right after this break. Stay where you are.
From powerhouse vocalist Natasha Owens, known for standout singles like Trump One and Somali Waltz, comes her brand new release, The Boss, released on Real America's Music. This is the direct response to Bruce Springsteen's recent release, The Streets of Minneapolis. While Springsteen once branded himself as a voice of the working class, The Boss gives a voice to everyday Americans and reminds listeners who truly shapes the future. The Real America's Voice audience has the power to move charts and shake the industry. Download it right now. Scan the QR code or search The Boss on iTunes. Push it up the charts. Make them notice. Real America's Voice is growing, and now it's all in one place. Introducing the new and improved RAV app, built for access, community, and choice, not paywalls. Here's the key. RAV is still free to watch. No sign-in, no membership required. Your favorite live streams, breaking coverage, and video on demand are all right there. Free, just like always.
For the War Room Posse, we have to be a force multiplier on this. We have to stick the landing.
In the White House, in the Oval Office, you're crushing it, my friend.
online. And if you want more, the members section is your backstage pass. Get exclusive behind-the-scenes photos and videos, insider moments from the studio and the field, and early access to new content before it goes public. Members can also unlock special experiences like virtual meet and greets, member-only auctions, and select event access, plus commercial-free viewing of certain shows inside the app. It's not just an app, it's a community. Download the RAV app today. Find it in the App Store and Google Play. Let's spill some tea.
Let's Spill Some Tea is sponsored by Artillery Tea Co., the veteran-owned patriotic tea brand delivering premium whole leaf tea in biodegradable sachets that brew twice as strong. Patriots, if you love great tea on your terms, check out the Patriots Brew Club for automatic shipments that you control. You can cancel or swap flavors anytime with no commitments. You'll also get free shipping on every order, tiered discounts up to 20% off, and free milestone rewards along the way. Brew strong, stay patriotic. Head to artillerytco.com right now and click Join the Patriots Brew Club to get started. It's time now to spill some tea, and in the cup today, former President Obama and space aliens. The former president is now walking back a viral comment that he made during a recent podcast appearance. Speaking to podcast host Brian Tyler Cohen, Obama joked about looking for aliens at Area 51, saying that aliens are real, but clarifying that he hasn't seen them. Take a look at this viral moment.
Are aliens real?
They're real, but I haven't seen them, and they're not being kept in, what is it?
Area 51?
Area 51. There's no underground facility, unless there's this enormous conspiracy, and they hid it from the President of the United States.
What was the first question you wanted answered when you became president?
Where are the aliens?
Where are the aliens?
The former president now says that he was just joking and playing along, adding that statistically, life elsewhere in the universe is extremely likely, but there's no sign that Earth has ever been visited. However, his comments have caught attention from UFO enthusiasts and skeptics alike. For more, let's bring in David Brody, Terrance Bates, and Dr. Gina. Terrance, he says that the aliens are real. I want to know how he knows that they're real. If they're not at Area 51, how does he know this? Where's the information?
Yeah, I think he was trying to couch this in a joke and trying to be facetious, if you will. But I would guess that if there are, in fact, aliens, he may have some sort of inkling or have gotten some sort of information as president to confirm and affirm that. And just personally, I do believe that there is life out there. Yes, I am one of those believers that we aren't the only people in the universe, that there is life out there somewhere. So put a tinfoil hat on me and go ahead and call me a conspiracist. Okay, David, go ahead.
No tinfoil needed. No tinfoil needed. You look at the polling. 60% of Americans believe there is life, intelligent life, somewhere else in this world. No doubt about it. So you're in the majority. You're actually in the supermajority. So there's no tinfoil needed. It's the people that don't believe there's anything out there that are the tinfoil people at this point. One other interesting stat is 1 out of every 3 Americans believe that aliens have actually come to the United States. Now, obviously, that would be 3% or so. So that's if you want to throw some tinfoil on there, that's fine. But anyhow, that's kind of where the stats wind up. Gina, what say you in terms of intelligent life? Well, all I can say is that some days I don't have intelligent life.
I was just going to say, intelligent life is waning at this point in general. Yeah. But I believe Obama's an alien. I mean, no, that's not what I meant.
Oh, hello. What? Okay.
I believe.
I thought he was a reptile person, Gina.
Yeah. I don't know.
Now we're getting real tinfoil hat.
That's right, Emily. I've seen all the Apocalyptics movie, and I think there's a good chance that Obama could star in one of those.
We'll just leave it at that, I guess.
Yeah. He's seen the aliens because he is the alien. Too funny. All right, still to come on American Sunrise. Our own T. Bates is standing by with the top story that he's keeping his eye on this morning. The one to watch is next on American Sunrise. Don't miss it.
Beatles vocalist Natasha Owens, known for standout singles like Trump One and Somali Waltz, comes her brand new release, The Boss, released on Real America's Music. This is the direct response to Bruce Springsteen's recent release, The Streets of Minneapolis. While Springsteen once branded himself as a voice of the working class, The Boss gives a voice to everyday Americans and reminds listeners who truly shapes the future. The Real America's Voice audience has the power to move charts and shake the industry. Download it right now. Scan the QR code or search The Boss on iTunes. Push it up the charts. Make them notice. Real America's Voice is growing, and now it's all in one place. Introducing the new and improved RAV app, built for access, community, and choice, not paywalls. Here's the key. RAV is still free to watch. No sign-in, no membership required. Your favorite live streams, breaking coverage, and video on demand are all right there. Free, just like always.
For the War Room Posse, we have to be a force multiplier on this. We have to stick the landing.
In the White House, in the Oval Office, you're crushing it, my friend.
And if you want more, the members section is your backstage pass. Get exclusive behind-the-scenes photos and videos, insider moments from the studio and the field, and early access to new content before it goes public. Members can also unlock special experiences like virtual meet and greets, member-only auctions, and select event access, plus commercial-free viewing of certain shows inside the app. It's not just an app, it's a community. Download the RAV app today. Find it in the App Store and Google Play.
Welcome back to American Sunrise. I'm Dr. G. Thanks so much for joining us today. It is time for the one to watch. And Terrance, you have your eyes on something.
I do. It's you, David. Well, I guess I have to look straight ahead to see you guys both. So I am watching the story and kind of the reporting unfold about Reverend Jesse Jackson's passing. He, of course, passed early this morning at 84 years old. He's a known civil rights leader. From his early days marching alongside Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. to his 2 runs for president, Reverend Jackson, definitely an indelible part of U.S. culture. President Trump taking to Truth Social earlier this morning. I'm just going to read part of the post. It's a very long post. He writes, "The Reverend Jesse Jackson is dead at 84. I knew him well long before becoming president. He was a good man with lots of personality, grit, and, quote, street smarts. He was very gregarious, someone who truly loved people." The president going on to say, "Despite the fact that I am falsely and consistently called a racist by the scoundrels and lunatics on the radical left, Democrats all, it was always my pleasure to help Jesse along the way." That's just part of the post from President Trump. As we bring back in Dr. Gina and David, the world has lost an icon. U.S. politics has lost an icon, whether you agree with his politics or not. The picture you're seeing right here is Jesse Jackson with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. There right before Dr. King's assassination. In fact, there's another iconic picture of Jesse Jackson pointing off of the balcony at the Lorraine Motel there in Memphis, Tennessee, and he's reportedly pointing at where the deadly shot came from. So he's been part of history in so many different levels, David.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. He's, we always call him the Reverend Jesse Jackson, right? Well, he was a Baptist preacher. He never had a church. Never actually had a church, but he was ordained a Baptist preacher back in, I think it was the 60s or so. But anyhow, but he brought in, he kind of ushered in, he was at the beginning forefront of the progressive social justice gospel that we talk about so much today. So there's the